Super Saturday. And we're up to the Henry Buck Size Produce Stakes here, and Awesome Rock is your favourite. Mercado second pick, and third is Boomwa, who's been a busy 2-year-old. The only other horse on the double figures is Zululand, but
1400 metres. 2-year-olds are set. And they're off. And Zululand looked to get a little squeeze, and Valdez goes back, and Mercado's one of the about the middle to towards the end, and he is pressing on towards the front now, where it's Boomwa leading narrowly from moving up on the outside, Malaguera, and now Mercado. He did step well, but he's charged forward and he's gone to the lead now. Hawking in behind them, holding down fourth, and they're followed by Glenroe and Prince. About a length away came the Spitfire, and then Red Letter Day. Awesome Rock next on the outside, about 8 lengths away from the leader. Being followed well back then by Stratum Star down along the inside, and back behind those horses then is Zululand, and he's being followed by Say My Name and Valdez. Mercado, the leader, coming up towards the home turn, a length on Boomwa in the white colours. Glenroe and Prince a bit wider, and the Spitfire's made ground to be the back of the leader. They're being followed by Malaguera, who's under pressure, and Awesome Rock's come right around the outside. He's starting to put in his run, and coming with him is Hawking on the inside. Into the straight though, and the leader is Mercado from Boomwa. Running on is Hawking and Awesome Rock, and behind them is the Spitfire down on the inside. 300 metres left to go now, and they've hit it off Mercado. Boomwa got it, and Awesome Rock is starting to really run home well. Zululand is putting in a run right down the outside. Awesome Rock, Mercado refuses to give, and he's still there on the inside. Zululand swapping the lot of them on the outside. It's Zululand who comes home by far the better, and he's got up to win by nearly a length. Maybe Awesome Rock from Mercado for the Miners. Big run, Mercado there. Closely followed by the Spitfire, who battled well, and then Boomwa, Glenroe and Prince and Hawking. Behind them was Malaguera. Valdez out very wide, being trailed then by Stratum Star, and they were trailed by Red Letter Day and Say My Name last in.
Well, David Hayes' run continues, and Zululand, this $1.5 million yearling colt, becomes a valuable racehorse potential sire as he swoops late on Awesome Rock, who covered ground, and Mercado.
But I think at a mile, this is a pretty competitive horse.
Go to Sydney?
Definitely, yeah. He was on trial for the size Champagne, and if he was running on Looking Handy, he was going to go for the value Fernhill. So he's invited himself into the proper races.
But not the slipper? I mean,
the colt wins its first race. It's a size. David last won the race with Von Costa de Hero. He never won again, but did run second in the Golden Slipper. I'm sure Zululand won't face the same fate there. Stevie Bester hit, he got fined 1,500 for using the whip 17 times above the standard, above the required before the 100 metre mark.
It's not bad, is it?
Awesome Rock and Mercado, both excellent performances here on speed, settled up for Zululand. He had a spanking new suit on yesterday, David.
Once he got that momentum up, and a bunny to chase in front, a couple of lengths away there, Awesome Rock, he really went through the gears well. I think the first three home are well above average, and behind them we saw on that head-on the Spitfire and Hawking just having a nice old bump over the final, so 300 metres, that wouldn't have helped either of their chances. I think this was a decent size this year.
Race 5 coming up here. This is the CUNY, and Solicit has gone up really short on the... It was quite ridiculous, really. That's gone up $1.65 on course. I mean, the on-course bookmakers aren't exposed to it. It was a $2 better bet.
70. Off and racing, she won the jump. Girl in Flight got away quickly as well, and Suavito got out fast, and so too did Miss Rose Delago, who's away very quickly looking for the lead. She's in front early. Solicit now moving up on the outside, goes into second, and Marianne settled down third, followed by Criticside Stall. Running down past the 800, and Miss Rose Delago led by almost a length to the favourite Solicit. 2 lengths away, Critical Angel, who's on the inside of Marianne. They're 3 on Suavito, Patricia Dawn, and then the black colours of Holy Cow, Starfash and the Rail Girl in Flight on the outside. Well back Sensibility and Sarah Largo when they cornered, followed by the Special 2 and Diamond Glow. So Miss Rose Delago first into the straight from Solicit, who looked to travel okay. Marianne called on running on strongly on the outside, and then Critical Angel and Suavito starting to work home. Now Solicit below the 300, moved up on the outside and went to the lead ahead of Miss Rose Delago. Marianne, here's Girl in Flight starting to finish well. It's a Solicit in front with 100 metres to go. She's almost a length. Marianne, Girl in Flight and Suavito. Solicit, she has to pull it all out, but she does so and does it well. Solicit gets home by a length to the Marianne or Suavito for the Miners. Girl in Flight's run fourth, and close up behind them, Miss Rose Delago down on the inside. Followed by Holy Cow, Sensibility, and then Star Fashion, Critical Angel, followed by the Special 2, Sarah Largo, Diamond Glow, and Patricia Dawn last home.
She's a star, isn't she? Solicit back this campaign in great form. She went out showing us that she had real talent. She just needed to mature and put it together, and she does. Clever here, Damien Lane. David Moody as
oh, she's a star. Love horses who make their own luck like she does, but she's far more tractable now, and she'll head to Sydney towards the Oaks. She's top draw.
Big win, big win. Stayed at 1,400 metres, which probably wasn't ideal for her. We've seen her stretched, obviously, to an Oaks last preparation during the spring, and that's a massive factor yesterday, in my opinion. You watch the last 150 metres, and she was probably just holding them and then on the line drawing away again. That tells me anyway that she's looking for a mile and even further, and she's going to get better before she flattens off this preparation for sure. Key with her, Bruce, as you rightly pointed out, is she's such a keen going filly last prep. She's settling better. Miss Rose Delago set the tempo yesterday, and she was happy to sit outside her and then take over. That's a big plus for a filly that's obviously blessed with a lot of ability and that is just learning that race sense and getting better with each run. She's a serious, serious horse. Suavito of the rest, I thought she was very good. Miss Rose Delago, there's a race for her somewhere, and likewise, Girl in Flight. She could probably hop over to Adelaide in the next month and pick up a black top win over there, I would have thought. Sensibility.
Getting ready for Group 1 action on this afternoon here on the Super Saturday at Flemington. This is the first of them, the sprint. 141st running of the Newmarket, now the Lexus Newmarket Handicap, and a horse in Sham Express trying to be the first since Razor Sharp, one of only five to win the race twice. Favourite, though, is Summer Ready at 420 in front of Sham Express, Lankan Rupee, and then double figures the remainder. But great depth in this year's Newmarket.
Percentage of 113.
Stand by for a start on the Lexus Newmarket Handicap. Starter has them. Freddie and General Truce began fast and away very quickly. Flamberge and Lankan Rupee began very quickly over near the outside. Burnaby got away very fast in the early part, and he's going for the lead as they settle into stride up the middle of the course. So Burnaby leading. Sham Express is following him, followed then Flamberge moving up, and Lankan Rupee wider out on the course. Just in behind them, General Truce and Spirit of Boom. Pago Rock's got over to a pretty handy placing. Noidart next in the middle of the bunch, followed by Moment of Change. Further back, Sama Ready working to the outside. Mr. Milton's well back in the field, and so too Unpretentious over on the outside, and Elbrecht is one of the last. Fodolina's made grounded. He's just behind the leading bunch against the rail. So Burnaby joined again by Flamberge, Lankan Rupee right there on the outside. Then Sham Express working home along the inside, and Noidart's finishing off well, and Sama Ready's coming on down the outside, followed by Pago Rock. They're racing to the 200 metres now, and Lankan Rupee commits and splits away from the horses chasing him. Down the outside was Sama Ready. Spirit of Boom's coming home, and further back is Flamberge and Noidart, but Lankan Rupee is clearing Spirit of Boom, and he's flying. Lankan Rupee far too good, but Spirit of Boom by over two. Noidart third, Sham Express fourth, and fifth over Flamberge, and then Sama Ready, Mr. Milton, followed by Elbrecht, and then Pago Rock, Unpretentious, followed by General Truce, Moment of Change, Fontalina, and Burnaby. Another poor performance. Something's obviously not right with him. He's a bad last, but Lankan Rupee has blitzed them.
Is the new sprinting star on the Australian stage. The Oakley Plate in brilliant style into an even better performance with the 56.5 today, and Chad Schofield loved it. We'll get Chad to talk shortly and hopefully tomorrow on Racing Review. But what a performance by Lankan Rupee. The unpreferred.
We kept saying what a really deep field it was, and yet well, I'm looking at the photo finish here. You can't see another horse. He won by 2 1/4 lengths with a length 19.26. He's taken it.
Talked to him before the race and said, don't go out there too scientifically trying to ride a race on him. You know, just go with the flow. Actually, Craig Newitt probably helped him with riding instructions, as in he's the toughest sprint in Australia just about. And he's found sixth gear and blasted away.
He's one with a big weight, and he's completed a rarish double. Oakley Played into a Newmarket. There's big options around the wheel for him.
Well, I think off to Sydney and the $2.5 million. I don't think they have $2.5 million races overseas, do they?
No, but you can still do all. You can still do the TJ all up.
Yeah, mate, he's a gelding, and I got no. We don't have to do England with him. I think all roads lead to Sydney. 2.5 million and 5 weeks between runs gives me a chance to probably just put him in a green grassy paddock.
Chad, congratulations to you. Went with the flow with the horse, as Mick said to you, and just dominant.
Yeah, big thanks to Mick. He didn't really tie me down with any instruction. He just said, ride the horse how you feel him, and he flew out the gates and he travelled really, really strong for me the first half of the race. Sort of when they quickened up, when they joined on the course proper, just gave him a bit of rain, and I sort of had to grab another hole because he wanted to hit the front too soon, and I waited as long as I could, but when I pressed the button, he really dashed, and haven't had a horse quicking like that with me before, so it was a great thrill. And it was
over 2, Noidart third, Sham Express 4.
Wow, spectacular. 1, 2, 3 home the Oakley Plate. 1, 2, 3 home here, but that was the best of Lankan Rupee. 6 starts as a gelding, 5 wins. Oakley Plate winner becomes a Newmarket winner. The only other time he was beaten, he had the thumps or on one of those things they get, which is... Anyway, Chad, that must have been just a thrill to ride.
Yeah, it certainly was. He jumped really quickly and he really travelled well for me. If anything, probably 10% over-travelled. Just had to just keep him as relaxed as I could, and I was trying to sort of come back off Flamberge a little bit more, but he was just pulling a bit. But once we joined up onto the course proper, they started to quicken, and I went to quicken as well, and I gave him a bit of rein, and he actually went to zip and hit the front too early, so I had to sort of take another hold. But when I did let him go and asked him to quicken, he did that, and he burst clear and showed the most amazing turn of foot, and he was very strong to the line as well, no doubt.
Well, she was terrible, Bruce. She had a great run. She sat on the back of the winner. Couldn't have been happier. Peeled off his back, and the right summer already would have went with him, but it was pretty much a replica of Moonee Valley when she didn't pull up real good. So I'm sure they'll find something.
Must be pleased though for the.
And we just never found the right groove. He's a horse that probably appreciates being able to flow through the middle stages of a race, and we were unable to do that. When the sprint came, I was very one pace to my finish, but you'd expect that with that weight.
It was disappointing.
When was the last time 1, 2, 3 in a Group 1 repeated themselves as they did there from the Oakley Plate? Question without notice to you?
No idea, Bruce. Mark and I were just discussing the same thing off there. I couldn't remember a leading race.
Ranvet BMW 2000, Tie the Knot Arena Shoella.
Oh, geez, mate, I can't even remember what I had for tea last night, and he's going on with this.
I can't remember my kids' names. And Paul, as I come back to you...
Well, Shark, we got one thrown up yesterday, which was Might and Power beat Doremus Catlin Opening Markham in the Caulfield Cup. Catlin Opening didn't run the Melbourne Cup. Might and Power beat Doremus and Markham across the line in the Melbourne Cup.
We're going to talk about that, then we have to include Flamberge and running 5th in the Oakley Plate and 5th again yesterday. So,
Bruce, they elected to go a different direction after winning so well on Lankan Rupee.
Yeah, no, this was a dominant win. This is like old time. It only seems like yesterday that Keith and I were doing this. No, it's probably a decade ago, Keith, when we were on Racing Retro in a different studio. But it just seems like yesterday. But Lankan Rupee here was just devastating with the burst of speed. Noidart up the rail. It wasn't too bad a run either, guys.
No, it was a great run, Noidart, Andrew. I thought he should have finished a close second there. He got held up, momentum lost. But take nothing away from this winner. He's an absolute star. And look, he must come right into calculations, although he's had a few hard runs now for the TJ Smiths, nice and fresh. Spirit of Boom, well, how gallant is he? He's a big-time performer. He keeps running a place in all these big Group 1s. He's going to be a popular stallion when he retires in Queensland. And like you said, Noidart was terrific there. I couldn't really find an excuse for anything behind other than Noidart should have finished closer, but the winner was clearly dominant.
I've been spruiking Lankan Rupee since his first run this time.
I'll give yourself a rap. Yeah.
His first run this time. The first run this time back, he stamped himself with a turn of foot that you just don't see in horses. And I know he didn't beat the strongest field. He beat old First Command, who's a capable sprinter. But the way he dropped First Command in that first run and just put 4 lengths on him, bang, like that, he had to be a good sprinter. And he's just kept taking the steps. And he even fooled Mick Price yesterday because Mick thought Samaretti would be the better of his 2 chances. I'm sure he was sure of that. But this horse will now have 5 weeks, and Mick will probably put him in the paddock for a few days and get him a little bit fresh. 5 weeks into that TJ Smith. I'm sure that's where he'll go. And I tell you what, he's only just got to reproduce that, and he'll just brain him again. He's the best sprinter in the country, and he's got a few lengths on him.
And young Chad kept the cool head as well.
And you know that the second horse has never won up the straight, and yet has been placed in virtually every big straight race. He's caught the bouquet, as Simon Marshall said yesterday. He's caught the bouquet.
Spectacular performance by Lankan Rupee in the Newmarket, replicating for the Ladari Australian Cup. And what a mouth-watering contest it is, with the Melbourne Cup winner and the Cox Plate champion doing battle again. The 3-year-old had the older horses measure at Moonee Valley, but he was en route to the Melbourne Cup then. Do this target and then back to Sydney. Fiorente did over Seamus Award. Wow, exciting, isn't it? Let's look at him today and see if he, I don't think he changed his shape much. He certainly presents, you might say, better.
And he's been 220 down to 205. So been a bit of a go here in an Australian Cup. Fiorente all the rage, Bruce.
They're off. Valeurs de Keur won the jump on the inside. Fiorente didn't jump well, and Ollie has to push and urge him, and he goes right back. He settles last with Teller, and Seamus Award flew out, and he had the early lead to Green Moon going up on the outside, and Star Rolling gets the trail. He's a length away third. Valeurs de Keur's fourth on the inside, a half Moraine. A couple further back, Thunder Fantasy, and they're followed by Teller. And back at the end of the field, Let's Make a Deal, and Fiorente is last of all. And Seamus Award dictating it, not a very strong gallop at all. And he goes out towards the 1,200 left to go. And Seamus Award out in front, 3/4 clear. Green Moon running second. Star Rolling is third, and on the outside, fourth is Miriam. 2 in front of Thunder Fantasy. Valeurs de Keur. Fiorente now about 7 or 8 lengths away from the leader. And then Teller and Let's Make a Deal at the end of the field. So the Australian Cup field is being led down towards the 800 by Seamus Award. He's had a really good run in front. A half clear. Green Moon is second. Miriam moving up on the outside to keep Star Rolling pocketed behind the leader. They're followed Valeurs de Keur, Thunder Fantasy. Fiorente next on the outside of Teller, and Let's Make a Deal last of all. On the turn for home, Seamus Award from Green Moon on the outside, and moving up is Miriam. Just behind them now, Fiorente pulls to the outside. Ollie riding him along to try and get into the race. Seamus Award at the 400 from Green Moon. Star Rolling. Fiorente a further couple of lengths away on the outside, and back behind those horses, Let's Make a Deal. It's now with 200 metres to go. Sham Award just the leader from Green Moon, and Fiorente. What a battle this is. It's a beauty. 100 left to go. Fiorente and Green Moon raced away. It's Fiorente coming home to better though. And Fiorente wins the Australian Cup, 3/4 to Green Moon. Teller flashed home and got third, and then Valeurs de Keur followed further back in the field, then by Miriam, who battled away well. Let's Make a Deal next over from Thunder Fantasy and Star Rolling, and Seamus Award dropped out, and he's finished last.
Wow, what a race. What a horse he is, Fiorente. A Melbourne Cup all up into an Australian Cup. A brilliant result for all involved here. 101 Group 1s for Ollie, a first Australian Cup for Gay Waterhouse. Spectacular result for all the owners. Best horse in the land, Fiorente.
And thanks to Jack and all the other owners for the kind, generous donation that 4 tracks for kids are going to get out of that win. And what about
we're number 100 right now, and you come back and really enjoy it. But what a thrill to be a part of this horse.
Yeah, look, he's really stamping his authority, Bruce, and it's a great honour to be a part of his journey. And it's great to see a Melbourne Cup winner come back and be so dominant in the Australian Cup.
Race wasn't really run hard, was it? A terrific effort by him.
It was, yeah. It was moderate, sort of, at least for the first half. And after the half mile, they started to increase, and he moved into the race just really nice, and come to the outside, just gave him some clear air, and he was really chiming in beautifully at the clock tower, and he won with authority.
He's got a great wilting horse for Australian racing.
Absolutely, Bruce. Has to win. There he was at the top of the straight. He was last. Just look at the field, and the pressure was on right from the start. It was a very fastly run race, and he just has this enormous determination to win. And 2 Melbourne Cup winners, and I knew Lloyd's horse would be hard to beat. He's always hard to beat in these staying races. Oh, he's very, very special. We've been really very privileged to see this horse run today. He's really something special.
Well, he's done the job in Melbourne for racing fans.
Quarters to Green Moon.
I think we call it the New Australian Cup because the first 5 over the line were New Australians. So they all started their life in the Northern Hemisphere. But a Melbourne Cup winner beats a Melbourne Cup winner. The crowd roared. It was just like being there in the spring. It was fantastic emotion and theatre there when Fiorente beats Green Moon. And Written by D. Oliver and C. Schofield. And firstly, because they finished in that order, we welcome Damien. That was a great buzz yesterday. When they, can you hear the crowd?
Yeah, you could. Big crowd out there for the autumn. I think it was like close to 30,000. So, I mean, and it was a beautiful weather. It was, you know, it was a great race meeting. The support card was good. And, you know, when he chimed in and there was a sort of a line of us across the track, it was a good buzz, you know, because, you know, he's proven to be one of our better, well, probably one of our best horses going around at the moment. And the way he sticks his head out and really lunges to that line, he's really exciting to ride.
I suppose a buzz for you too, Chad, as we welcome you in. We'll get to your highlights to where he is now. What have you noticed about him? What's his assets and his traits?
His best quality is just, you see the way he pins his ears back and really sticks his head out. You know, he just loves a fight. And, you know, I don't think I've ridden a middle distance horse that just really extends like him and sticks his head out and wants to beat the other horses.
Rich?
You say that, Damien. I was interested to hear you say a middle distance galloper. He has won a Melbourne Cup. What do you think's his best go?
Best trip, I reckon around 1.5 miles, Richie. I think is about his best trip.
I just can't believe yesterday, Craig Newitt said something, Damien. He couldn't believe how well you sprinted, better than him at probably at about the 400 metres. He showed more dash yesterday.
Yeah, look, he's got a great acceleration, and I suppose the thing that people aren't seeing is that he doesn't go away and win by a big margin. But the fact, I think Bruce mentioned earlier to me that, you know, he broke 23 from the 600 to the 200. So when they're running that quick, it's hard for him to actually put a margin on their rivals. But, you know, he just keeps getting the job done. And, you know, he's time after time, he's just, you see, sticking his head out and pinning those ears back. And
chances to win both runs, his preparation suggests that he's may have made that mark now as a mature horse. Did he give you a feel that perhaps a race like the BMW might be his go?
Certainly. Probably, obviously, he's the Melbourne Cup winner, so the 10 furlongs yesterday, I don't believe is his optimum distance. So, no doubt, as the preparation, we get further into the preparation and the distances get further, you'll be more benefited by that.
Stock in him, he's Cox Plate winner, won a Group 1 last start. Today, stepping against, he's the best, and the last 2 Melbourne Cup winners, best weight for age horse in Australia. And look, he just raced a little bit fresh, got pressured a little bit, but he still didn't give us the same kick that he had last week. He still, you know, you can't knock the horse at all. He's still done a great job this preparation. Interesting to see what.
That's a roundup of the features. The Group 1 Weight for Age Australian Cup, Fiorente, Gay Waterhouse and Damien Oliver. And it was Damien Oliver's first Australian Cup there. Of course, he's our special guest in Melbourne this morning. Damien.
What do you think this horse's best distance will be? And we know he's won a 2 mile, he's won at a mile, he's won at 2,000 metres. I think we're still trying to identify that.
Yeah, I reckon 1.5 miles is probably his best distance. You know, he's on the fresh side a little bit up to 2,000 to 1.5 miles is probably his best distance.
So going, if UK became an option, which Gay and the owners have got to decide on once they get through Sydney, they're talking of a 4,000 metre race or something like that. You feel a shorter trip at Ascot would be better suited to this horse?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, obviously he's won the Melbourne Cup, but
gets there. He knows where the line is.
Well, his record speaks for itself, doesn't it? You know, he's
never run a bad race in Australia.
He's had three preparations here now, and. Look, the sky's the limit for him. I don't know what Gay is going to do with him. You know, he's a horse you could just keep fresh and run him straight in the Queen Elizabeth.
That is the conundrum. Do you take this horse and run him in the BMW, which would seem the ideal race for him? Under the weight conditions of the BMW, the distance, it's all perfect for him. Do you go and take that prize, that Group 1 race? Do you try and do both? Which means you could be risking the second one, which is the $4 million Queen Elizabeth, because having been up to 2,400 metres and then coming back is harder to do. Or do you just go straight to the Queen Elizabeth and roll the dice there? It's something I'm sure they'll be scratching their head about today, and they'll come up with a plan for it. The likelihood is he'll try both races, and you know, he'll probably win the first one, and that will have been a great preparation anyway. He beat a very good horse in Green Moon. He doesn't run bad races at Flemington. The only times, there's very few times you ever see him run an ordinary race at Flemington, and he was beautifully ridden yesterday and acquitted himself very well. And the third horse was a good run too. So all those horses going forward into the autumn are really looking good. Famous Award, I have to say, you know, it was probably, in hindsight, a stronger field this year than last year. 3-year-olds were able to clean them up by 4 lengths last year. And this year we had a Cox Plate winning 3-year-old. He couldn't get the job done. I don't think he was sent too fast in front. I just think they were better horses on the day yesterday.
We were, special mention to Green Moon, as you said. They've both won a Melbourne Cup. They've Cornell a Melbourne Cup in 2012 as well. Moraine was the strangest run I've ever seen. He was 1-1, travelling well. And then all of a sudden he's dropped out to last on straightening up there and then was flying again at the finish to run fourth. Maybe he's a Sydney couple, so I don't know what Team Williams are thinking about him. And I know Seamus Award has won a Cox Plate, so I can't really have any back up my statement here, but I'm not so sure he can stay. I reckon he's a mile.
Yeah, you could well be right. Horses, you know yourself.
He was a 3-year-old when he won the 2,000 metre race.
The younger they are, the further they seem to be able to go. As they get older, they find their right level.
I suppose we find out in the Randwick, in the Rose Hill Guineas, I suppose, is his next run.
Indeed. We'll have a look at the...
And we get ready for more good racing here at Flemington with the Blamey. It's Group 2, and it's a terrific contest in itself. Team Williams horses flying at the moment. They've got Sea Moon and Foundry here. Sartorius, fit and solid. Ladari, hard to beat.
Look, they're off and racing. Havastan flew out of the barriers, landed nearly a length in front. Foundry away fast on the outside of Ladari. Desert Journey's now pushing up on the inside as the rider of Havastan's looking to get some cover now. Sartorius posied up 5th. And they're being followed by Stipulate, Sea Moon, right back to second last as they settle into stride, and Sweet as Brow at the end. So Ladari in front. He's about a length clear. 800 left to go. Running second is Foundry. Desert Journey third. Havastan fourth the outside. Followed by Stipulate as they come round the turn. Sartorius 5 away from the leader. Sea Moon second last. Sweet as Brow at the end. 600 left to go. And Ladari's going to corner narrowly from Foundry second. Havastan is third. Desert Journey down on the inside. Sartorius Maloney really asking him for something. He's a bit flat-footed when they cornered, and Sweet as Brow came down the outside. Ladari below the 400. He leads by a length. Foundry staying on with him. Desert Journey 3 lengths away. Sartorius too far back. Ladari giving a big kick down to the 200. Foundry is really battling to get to him at the moment, and they're 3 lengths in front of the rest of them, with Sweet as Brow battling on and Stipulate, but Ladari keeps on kicking. He's finding plenty, and Ladari will be too good virtually all the way by a length. Second Foundry, 3 lengths. Sartorius finally got going. He gets into third ahead of Sweet as Brow and Desert Journey. Stipulate Havastan and Sea Moon back at the end.
Never led in his life. Found a way to ride him. Well done. Great tactics here on Ladari. 7 to 650 late. They get away with it. All action race, which looked a medal.
Let the dust settle. We took him up for the Epsom after a very good run in the Dardo. He raced well. Leading into it, and then hurt himself on race morning. So, he's in the Doncaster, he'll be in the Ranvet, he's in the Queen of Elizabeth, he's in the Udnadata Cup. Birdsville's in the first Saturday in September, so we'll find one for him.
I'll be keen to see it.
3 votes, El Nolan, tempo-related race, and he used tactical speed that Ladari had shown previously to control the race. Didn't plan to lead, he did so. They held their ground. Ladari beats Foundry. Sartorius chugged, I don't think he charged, chugged into third. Just what you see is what you get there.
He was a bit flat, wasn't he, Sartorius, off that massive first up run in the Futurity and flipped them around. Ladari was flat in that race and comes out and a massive improvement. We know he's high class. He was very unlucky in a Dardo during the spring behind Fiorente. He was suited out in front yesterday, looked a very confident racehorse to mine, and it looks very good for him heading to Sydney. Foundry was good, second run in Australia. Sweet as Bro. Now, this horse's progression, this preparation has been nothing short of outstanding. He pumped up in the weights yesterday off a Country Cup win, and I thought the effort was
Really smart group of mares in the yard for this next race on the program. Race 4 at Warwick Farm is the Wiggle Stakes. Can Catkins keep on going on her winning way? Most people think she can. She's a firm favourite here, but a really smart bunch of mares line up here. Catkins the first up, 3 weeks between the runs, and she is the horse to beat.
Chris Waller described her best. He said she's the new Red Tracer. Like, not saying that Red Tracer is the industry and the family colours of number 2. Catkins in the all cerise colours. And Hugh Bowman on.
Catkins was the best into stride in the centre. She came out running and will lead from Any Day Will Do, is now going up on the inside to join her.
She's a Girl and Wistful are next, followed by Shiny Rose and Jolie Bay. And then Fire Up Fifi further back behind them, followed by Miss Stella Bell and then Diamond Drill. Scorpital down and She's a Girl on the outside and Any Day Will Do. Take up the running now from Catkins, who's poised perfectly behind them in third spot. Stella Bell, 600 out. Any Day Will Do on the inside. Just a leader from She's a Girl. The odds-on favourite stalks them. Catkins third. Jolie Bay's dropped a bit and then Fire Up Fifi. Dear Demi commencing a move and Scorpio Queen's on the outside of it. They turn for home now and Catkins is going after Any Day Will Do as the leader as they make the run into the straight. Catkins now sprinted up and hit the lead. Dear Demi's running on down the outside with Scorpio Queen, but Catkins is the one they've got to get past. She's travelling well. She sprinted. She got away from Dear Demi. Shani Rose is running on, but she's a great mare. Catkins goes on to beat Shani Rose, Dear Demi, then Scorpio Queen, Fire Up Fifi, Miss Stella Bell, Any Day Will Do, then Diamond Drill, She's Clean, Jolie Bay, She's a Girl and Wistful was last in.
That's what the punters wanted to see. Number 2, Catkins.
She was excellent today in the Cerise opponents, the Group 1 Shipping Norton Stakes at Wait for Age over the mile. Runners are in the yard for this big race on the program here at Warwick Farm. And Rich.
And great to see him here this afternoon. He looks like he can nearly run again, Rich.
For sure, no doubt. And we go to our mounting yard preview of the big Group 1. We start with It's a Done Deal. High Chaparral 4-year-old. He's won 9 from 15. He's a star. He resumes today, and we're just looking forward to seeing him back at the races.
Most definitely. And
certainly am, Richard. Can't do any more now. It's a bit late anyway.
Given the track, we've just, it did touch 175. Bowban's $5 into $4.80 after touching as low as $4.60. Number 3, Hawkspur, $16, been reasonably solid throughout. Better runner in front of numbers 2 and 4, Bowban and Moriarty.
And he jumped well. It's a done deal. Monton was probably the best out, though. Moriarty going forward on the outside. Glencaddam Gold and Order of the Sun are also now starting to press forward. And It's a Done Deal will let them go. There's 4 across the track looking for the lead early on. It's a Done Deal's lobbed in behind them, followed by Prince Sherry and then Bo. Order of the Sun takes them to the side of the track near the 800-metre mark. Leads from the stablemate. Glencaddam Gold's a half away second from Monton and Moriarty. And then Boban and It's a Done Deal. They're racing together, followed by Prince Sherry and Hawkspurs on the inside last of all. They're coming up to the 650 now, and some moves are about to be made here. Order of the Sun's being tackled there now by Moriarty, who's gone through in the centre and poked his head in front. Glencaddam Gold was next, followed by on the outside It's a Done Deal starting to rev up, followed by Monton. Boban was next, and then further back behind them as they make the home turn, Prince Sherry and then Hawkspur. It's a Done Deal has now sprinted up on the outside. Boban starting to chase him, and then came Moriarty. It's a Done Deal in front. Boban is looking a big threat though. Boban's raced up on the outside. He's taken the lead from It's a Done Deal, and the band's back together. Schofield and Boban. They beat It's a Done Deal. Third was Hawkspur, followed by Moriarty, and then came in behind them next over the line Monton, followed by Prince Sherry, Order of the Sun, and Glencaddam Gold was last in.
Well called, Mark Sheen. The band is back together. Bring him back on. Glenn Schofield. He was absolutely bolting. Chris Waller watched the race here with Brian York and I. We're coming the turn. I said, Huey's pushed the button early on Moriarty. He said, that's okay. He said, Boban is bolting. And some
down like It's a Done Deal, you can never be too confident. So it's a long straight. He gradually wore him down and won quite convincingly in the end.
Your jockey followed.
And that's been the turning point of this horse's career. Glenn hopped on. No disrespect to any other jockey that's ridden him. And there's the jockeys that have ridden him will get on horses that Glenn's ridden and ride them better. It's a simple method. This horse goes very well for Glenn Schofield. Can't explain it. If we try and explain it, we'll go crazy worrying about it.
But it comes back to a big group of very happy owners, as they should with this horse. He was third up today. It's such a great association. Glenn, yourself and Boban, you get on just so well.
Yeah, there's a third cog to the wheel of Chris Waller as well. Don't forget him. He's got the horse to turn his first 2 performances around to peak today. And Chris, I think, has won this race 4 or 5 times in a row now. So it was my turn today. So once I peeled off their backs on the top of the straight, the old Boban was back and his acceleration was there, and away he went.
And there are no easy Group 1s. You had to get past a real top liner.
Oh, look, it's certainly a solid horse that he had to get past. He was first up, we're third up, so don't forget that. But the best part about the whole thing is the horse is back on track.
Deal. Third was
The band back together. G. Schofield on Bo Bang. Chris Waller for the fourth time in a row winning the race. Shootout a couple of times, and Dan Lee. And it's a done deal. Went for home it. Bo Bang gunned him down. It's amazing, Richard, that you see an association where a horse and jockey just click unlike any other.
Yeah, amazing. You know what? I said to Mark off there, we're getting our makeup on. Obviously, Mark took a lot longer than mine, but I'm saying, Waller, when Nash got off after his second up run, and Nash basically said to the owners and to Chris, disappointing, I don't think he's up to the basically, you know what I mean? And Chris took that so personally. He was felt. He said, no, he's not. He said, he's going terrific, Nash. And to Nash's credit, he was the first plug out yesterday, and he just walked over to Waller. He said, you're a freak. He said, you're a genius. But Glenn's just got the knack to this horse. And the big secret was he saved 4 lengths when he slipped up the inside of them at about the 1300, 1400. And then he got on to Done Deal. He was smoking coming the turn. It's a Done Deal was good. I still think a shade disappointing. Hawkesbury showed how you got to ride him. He was terrific. And Moriarty's going to be better. I can't wait for the Ranvet. It could be the race of the carnival, Mark.
Yeah, it's a mouth-watering race coming up, isn't it? But Boban, with those runs under his belt, just had the race fitness on his side. It's a Done Deal. Looked magnificent before the race. He looked so healthy, but still a bit of condition on him, and so he definitely improved. But Boban just out-sprinted him.
Rich, it's a Done Deal.
On with the horse. And wow, he's a super horse, Boban. And maybe I'm speaking through the 4 tracks. You talk about 2 horses, Lincoln Rupee and Boban. Being gelded, and they're different horses, aren't they?
Sure are. Let's hear from James McDonald, who wrote It's a Done Deal. Let's see what he thought.
It was all right. He just probably condition gave away a little bit. He was very fresh in the birdcage and probably just needed the run, but he'll improve a bit, but he was beaten by a bit horse today.
You think you were...
At the moment, but Boban won the Group 1, the Chipping Norton Stakes, and good to see him bounce back to that form that he showed in the spring when he won the Epsom and also the Emirates.
He was beautifully set up for this race. It's all about timing in the racing, and Boban's presented third up in a Group 1 by Waller. His regular jockey back on in Glenn Schofield, who 20 minutes earlier saw his son win a big Group 1 down the straight at Flemington. Fantastic ride. Fantastic ride. Look at McDonald shoving back on the inside here on It's a Done Deal. And he rode It's a Done Deal well. Until here.
Yeah.
Where he should have counted to 10.
Yeah, he should have just sat there for just a little bit longer.
He drags the fit horse into the race, and he's made an 800-metre run.
Not only does he let Boban out of the pocket early, he gives him the trail into the straight. And look, Boban, Glenn Schofield and Boban have something between them. I mean, he's such a Fruit Loop, Boban, that, you know, he's got the idea that Glenn's the one he wants on him, and that's about it. And he struck back here today. It was a beautiful ride. And, you know, that's the horse that he's top. I think there's probably more improvement in the second horse in It's a Done Deal. I mean, a horse, I don't care where you are, first 1,600 metres in this part of the world first up, on a slow track, and you're leading the fitter horse into the race. It's hard to do. So there's more improvement in him. And I think he's on track to, you know, he's right on track. I'd be very happy with It's a Done Deal. The third horse was good too.
Hawkesbury ran a much improved race, ridden quieter, and I do believe that It's a Done Deal will come on from that. And any of his supporters, I wouldn't be too disappointing if you backed him yesterday, but as far as the performance is concerned, I'd say it gets a double tick.
Yeah, Murray.
Those are the big races on the program. If you win this, you might be heading towards a Doncaster Mile or something like that. And we're about 10 to 11 minutes away from start time, so we might take the chance to...
Oh, El Rocker and How Much Do You Love Me in the centre both stepped out well, and so did Terra Vista. He came out flying on the outside, and they're the 3 leaders early from Spur Tonic, and then My Destiny Pinwheel, followed by Malavio. White Sage back off the speed about midfield, settling down. Then Cameo, Reva to second last, and Less is More at the rear. How Much Do You Love Me kick further ahead now, 600 to go. It strode away, led a length and a half. El Rocker, My Destiny and Terra Vista. Then Malavio's being hard ridden, followed by Spur Tonic Pinwheel. White Sage is giving them a bit of a start, but starting to roll into it around the outside from ninth lead. Legion. As they turn for home, El Rocker and How Much Do You Love Me about to be claimed by Terra Vista. My Destiny got an inside run. It's El Rocker and Terra Vista. They've hit the lead together. Terra Vista on the outside now gets the upper hand. Gets about a neck in front of El Rocker, who ducked in. And then came Ninth Legion. It's Terra Vista. El Rocker's fighting back. Terra Vista, El Rocker. Terra Vista. I think Terra Vista just beat El Rocker in a photo. And then we've got Pinwheel in a photo for third with Ninth Legion and Malavio from White Sage. Then How Much Do You Love Me, followed by Less Is More. Riva Delago, My Destiny, Cameo and Spurt Tonic has finished a long last.
He wins Terra Vista. The market mover on TV had no excuses of beating Brigade. He had to cover that little bit of ground. I know it's a straight run, and he had them covered. A good performance, Jason Collett and Joe Pride. He's come back with a vengeance. 2 out of 2 this preparation. 7 Terra Vista, 360 on the totes in New South Wales, 370 on
kilos.
It's exciting, isn't he?
It's an attractive weight to get in there with, but look, he'll probably get a little penalty for today. He's probably done enough to get in there, but I'd like to, if he's a serious donker.
Well, Terra Vista, we know, is good. They're taking good steps, and El Rocker needed that, and is on route towards the Guineas next week. So, another good result here for Jason Collett.
Yeah, Jason Collett's riding terrific. And look, he wants Joe Pride to put blinkers on. He said that for a few starts now, but Joe said it's hard to tinker when they're winning, but he just said he stopped and waited for the other galloper.
He's done that a few times, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That day he won over 1,400 at Randwick. He got to the front and sprinted. He did it the other day at Randwick too. Like, he gets the break, he sprints, and then he does seem to pull up, Richie, doesn't he?
Jason Collett said, you put the blinkers on. He said, I'm telling you. He said, he'll really go to the line and beat him easy. El Rocker, I think Trent Bussard and the team are pretty happy. All going to plan. They'll back up next week in the Randwick Guineas back against his own age. So they'd be wrapped. White Sage was a disappointing runner. Surprised they wanted to go back yesterday. I said in my preview early on before I heard the announcement, I thought the outside barrier would be good for her to be able to roll forward. I think she's a far better mare on top of the speed, but she didn't let down. She was disappointing. So
at the Liverpool City Cup, this is the race that Terra Vista won. He's a nice horse. He's won 6 out of 8 so far, and looks like there might be more to come.
And he performed in the big lead. He's just been nurtured through his classes by Joe Pride, who's an absolute expert at this. He sat wide, no cover. This seemed the place to be there at Warwick Farm. The track was drying out by this stage late in the day.
And they're only travelling straight.
They're not going hard.
They're not on a bend.
But he's got a devastating sprint on him. If he hasn't been proven past 1,400. If this horse can get to a mile, he's a live Doncaster mile chance down in the weights. I thought the 3-year-old was terrific, Richard. El Rocker.
Oh, yeah.
Showed great fight.
Once again, Terra Vista had him. I reckon he got about a half length in front at least. And he's fought back El Rocker. Terra Vista had the better turn of foot, has more acceleration. I think at another 200 metres longer, you'll see El Rocker really hit his straps. He was very
he'll back up next week in the Randwick Guineas.
It's going to be hard to beat.
It's going to be a good race, that.
I never worry about horses.
Really good race. A bit of a light fingers rematch, I suppose. Throw in a couple of different fillies that are kicking off their preparations, and it makes for a very, very good race. Guelph is at 350. Sweeter are the favourite at 270. So numbers 1 and 2 are the two. And with
$21. Arabian Gold, 12 into 11. Zanbar at $21. Guelph, 360 into 270. Mark Sheen there.
Well, Guelph probably came out a little bit behind them, missed it by about a half a length. Sweet Idea Insider began fast. Thumpers going forward along the inside, and they're the leaders in the first 100 or so, and Champagne Cat now going up along the rail. Then in behind them, Marmello, followed by Arabian Gold, Metaphorical picking up ground on the rail, followed by Gypsy Diamond. At The Champagne Cat now took over. It came up along the inside to hit the lead and led from Sweet Idea. Trumps on the outside in third spot, or Thump, I should say. Then Arabian Gold, followed by Real Surreal. At the head of the others next is Metaphorical, Made to Order, Gypsy Diamond in the centre, followed by Guelph. Then Lucia Valentina. And then Chateau Lafay well back with Zanbar and Marmello last of all. They're preparing to swing here. Champagne Cat, Sweet Idea in the centre, and Thump on the outside, followed by Real Surreal, Arabian Gold. And Guelph still about 3 or 4 lengths off the lead as they come up to the 250 metre mark. Thump's now moved up to hit the lead from Real Surreal. Sweet Idea struggling, and Guelph is only battling for the moment. Real Surreal is coming after this leader over the concluding stages. Thump is in front, but Thump's going to hang on and beat Real Surreal. Thump beat Real Surreal. Third's tight. Lucia Valentina on the inside. Gypsy Diamond and Zanbar. And then we've got Arabian Gold, followed by Marmello. And then Sweet Idea and Guelph. Well, they were both disappointing, followed by Champagne Cath, Chateau Lafay and Made to Order at the back of the field.
Jimmy Cassidy. He continues to amaze. I thought it might have needed one more, but it gets the job done today. Well done to Jimmy Cassidy. Well done to Chris Lees. Thump. Now under the care of Chris Lees is filly by Red Ransom. She wins the Group 2 Surround Stakes.
Well, only second start for Chris Lees. Whacks the blinkers on and bang, or thump. The punters, 25-1. Wasn't a it was a great race for Chris Lees. Not so for the punters here. What's the wash up out of the surround, Richard, mate?
I was filthily embarrassed to say I had something on Thump first up, but they put the blinkers on, different filly, 14. And she's a type of filly that needs to roll. The other day at Randwick, she was held up back in behind them. Real Surreal was $10 into 650. I think, third run back after having 13 and a half months off. It'll improve. Hugh Bowman, when he got off the Lucia Valentino on the way back to the enclosure, we thought there was something wrong, but he dropped his whip, so he had to go back and pick it up. And he said to Jill Murphy, our producer, it'll win the Oaks. But I tell you what, there was some cracking runs. Sweet Idea was disappointing. Well, and it was Mark Sheen who pointed out here a few weeks ago on TVN. He said, I just question a lot of the form around Guelph, Mark, and disappointing again yesterday.
Well, sometimes you don't know with fillies. Sometimes they don't come back. I had one who was placed in a Group 1 and she came back next preparation. She wouldn't want a Galagan bone. So you can lose them very quickly. If you look at that form, she beat May's Dream and got run over in the Wakeful after that. She beat Bound for Earth. Where's it? Fawurza in the Champagne. Where's it? I know I'm being very critical, but looking at her at face value now, she's got a long way to go to get back to winning form.
I saw a market last night. She was $11 in the Queen Elizabeth. They've left off 2 noughts. I'm not saying I'm not being critical, but you wouldn't take 1,000 to 1. But Bruce, heading Sweet Idea was disappointing. Guelph, and it was Mark Sheen heading towards the lead-ups into the Oaks over the next month, Mark. I thought Zambar was outstanding.
Yeah.
Lucia Valentina was good. Gypsy Diamond was great. They're the 3 going forward. Marmello, fresh, I thought was super. Chatola Fuss.
Guelph and Sweet Idea wouldn't even figure in the finish.
I'd have to say disappointing, both of them. Sweet Idea has been such a gallant mare and a brave mare all the way through. And Guelph, well, this is her turn to stand up. She paraded beautifully, but I'd have to say very, very disappointing. This horse of Chris Lees' Stump, it's only a second run for the stable. He put the blinkers back on her. She loves Warwick Farm. Her record here is impeccable, and she just found the right part of the track. Geez, there's some Oaks trials in this. Zanbar's absolutely high flying in the Tate colours, the red with the white hat, and along the inside, this is the slowest part of the track here. Valencia Valentina. She is Lucia Valentina. That's her first run for the stable. She's only a light filly and carries no condition. That's the only concern I've got with her. But
she's probably not as good as Rising Romance, who was the very good run in the Derby behind.
She started favourite against her and fell in New Zealand. So she has got form around her.
And look, as you say, there were some great Oaks trials in that. The winner was just well placed, and I have to agree that the 2 fancied runners, well, I don't know where they go with her now. There must be something going on with her. Peter will be scratching his head. They'll figure it out. And the other filly, well, it was just disappointing on the day.
Some very good runs in that. Real Surreal was good as well. Second up after over a year off. Some really good runs in that race, Andrew.
Feature the Sporting Bet Aleister Clark Stakes Group 2 level for the 3-year-olds over the classic Cox Plate distance here at Moonee Valley. And the market is up with Surge Ahead.
And Scratchy Bottom might have been about a half a length slow. Villanova Snag from his outside stall goes over the heels and all rigged up, getting a dig in the early part with Surge Ahead coming over from an outside stall. And he whipped out of the fence and crossed and led by a length and a half. Fade on moved to second, all rigged up third. 1,000 metres, and there's no place for the faint-hearted. It's a pretty good gallop. Surge Ahead by a length. Honey Steele's Gold 3 lengths away in third placing. Fade on 2 lengths to all rigged up. A half to Mr. Spot, 2.5 lengths further back is Bardham Cadillac Mountain. A further 2 lengths away in the field then is My Son Harry. Scratchy Bottom, nowhere to go along the inside. Followed then by behind these being hard ridden at the head of the other horses then is Bring Something. But coming towards the top end of the race, Surge Ahead leading narrowly towards the turn from Honey Steele's Gold, and Fade On has been sitting on these 2 horses all the way, and now he pulls out to throw out his challenge. They're 3 on Mr. Spot, followed by Bardham picking up ground. A Scratchy Bottom still a long way back as they corner where Fade On raced to Surge Ahead. Fade On took the lead from Surge Ahead into the straight. They're clear then from now. Barnum coming on down the outside from Cadillac Mountain, but it's Fate on clear with 100 metres left to go. Ollie going for his fourth win of the race, and no doubt he's got it. And he kicks away Fate on by 2. Cadillac Mountain charges home. He might grab Surge ahead for the Miners. Followed Badem and Scratchy Bottom. Best work late. Next in Villanova brings something, and they were followed then by Honey Steele's Gold. And behind those
Gem of a ride, D. Oliver. Take a bow. Began well. Raven, Cadillac Mountain. Gee, he's really starting to put it together. Another lightly race.
Well placed to win there. Fade on with the blinkers on. Star Thoroughbreds colours. I like the second horse here, heading towards the Derbies. Cadillac Mountain, showing it's a half to a Derby winner. Of course, it's a brother to a Derby winner in Rebel Raider, and it looks like it will just stay on.
A chance of coming to Sydney for the Rosehill Guineas. Cadillac Mountain may go the softer option via the Tulloch, but is a chance of coming to Sydney.
What about the winner Fade on? Where does it go?
I'd imagine it'll be coming back. You'd imagine it could head towards the Derby. It's only lightly raced. Its form's not too bad in Sydney. It was beaten at Canterbury, but
that was the first time we saw him take a sit.
Yeah, but he was crying F.
Looking at these horses in the yard, and you can see number 1 is Gold Force at 360, and this is the going by Flying.
A Time for War, 9 into 550. It did touch 5. Giuliani's been 360 out to $4.
Racing Zazumba missed the start, and Gold Force didn't jump all that well. He came out about second last. Valentia jumped out fast. Giuliani away well, and Gold Force is picking himself up very quickly to be up about second or third now, followed by Rembrandt and Mr. Bogart, Modoc, and Zazumba's over racing. He's throwing the head about back on the fence at the rear of the field. As they run to the 800, the leader, Giuliani, led by about a head on Gold Force, is coming up underneath him, and he'll get on level terms. Valentia gets the trail behind them in third. Mr. Bogart's being ridden along, followed by Rembrandt. Zumba's settled a little bit better now. Modoc's on the outside of it. So these two up front, not giving each other a lot of peace. It's Gold Force and Giuliani. Valentia's coming around the hills now to stake a claim, and then Mr. Bogart further back behind them, Modoc and Rembrandt. As they top the rise down, Valentia's coming up to challenge, and he strode up now to hit the lead. Gold Force gave in quickly. Giuliani, Modoc's coming down the outside. Valentia the leader. Modoc's a length and a half away. Then Mr. Bogart and Giuliani. Valentia's in front, 150 out. He's holding Modoc and Mr. Bogart. And Valentia, he's starting to duck off the track a little, but he's got the job done. Wins it by about a half on Mr. Bogart. Modoc got third. And then Giuliani, Rembrandt, Gold Force, and Zazumba finished tailed off.
Number 3.
Look, everything is a possibility. Let's just wait and see. We wait a couple of days.
End up here and say it's the right one, but I mean, Tommy's lost Fighting Sun. At least he's got one here in Valentia.
Yeah, well, that's it. He's locked down now to ride Valentia in the Golden Slipper, and it looks as though the horse would probably be better suited in a size produce stakes, even possibly a Champagne. He looks a horse that's looking for a bit more ground. He doesn't appear to have the zip of a Golden Slipper winner, but he's in the race. He'll be freshened up 3 weeks until the big one, and like you said, he's a valuable fast out rock colt. You've got to have a throttle with
That was the worst Group 2 I've ever seen.
And the Skyline Stakes was the first for the 2-year-old colts and geldings. Valentia cost $1.35 million, Ron.
Yeah, look, he's a high-profile colt. Obviously a good sort. This was I'd say a soft win. He was always going to win. He was in a good spot. He ambled up here under Tommy Berry, and you think, well, he's going to explode away from him here and put 5 or 6 lengths in them. Look, he wanted to just duck in them when he put under full pressure. I think his best chance of a Group 1 would be over a mile, maybe the Champagne Stakes, but look, these aren't slipper horses to my eye. Mr. Bogart was a much improved run. Modoc, well, what you see is what you get. And Giuliani maybe didn't run the 1200 first up, was too much for him.
I'm not wrapped in the bunch. I think I don't look. If Valentia is going to win his auction price back, it's going to have to be over longer distances than that, because
Johnson Memorial Sweet Embrace Stakes, another of our feature races here today for the 2-year-olds. And the favourite 12, $2.10, $5.50 for Press Report, $5.50 into 5 for Tetsuko, and the other one's $11. Occitan, the main one's in the market, $13. Believe Yourself.
There they go, off and racing. In the main, a good dispatch. Press Report might have got a little bit of a squeeze just after the start, and of course she does, has gone back to the tail. Stratical jumped out well and leads from Tetsuko, and then in behind them, them next. We've got Puzzle on the inside. Twirl is going up out wide, and Occitan is just behind them, followed by Believe Yourself. And then Press Report, Miss Interiors, and of course she does as last of all. Stratical slowing them down, led by a length and a half. Twirl in second. Texaco next, followed by Occitan is going up out wide. And then came Puzzle over on the fence, followed by Miss Interiors starting to whip around the outside. Press Report trying to improve with it, followed by Believe Yourself. And of course she does. It's a packing field coming to the home turn. And the leader is Stratical, led from Twirl and Occitan on the outside. Then Puzzle, Texaco next, looking for run, and Press Report is coming down the centre of the track. Twirl's moving up now to challenge, and she sprinted fast, Twirl, and she took the lead. Puzzle's getting up on the inside. Believe Yourself and Press Report, and Texaco is getting through in the centre. Twirl's the leader. Believe Yourself. Texaco going for a run in the middle. Twirl's just in front. Believe Yourself on the outside's coming at it. Believe Yourself has hit the front, and Believe Yourself got up and won it. Beat in second spot, 12. Texaco third from Press Report, and then came in behind them next over the line. Miss Interiors, followed by Occitan, Puzzle, of course she does, and Stratical, which led them up, got tired and finished last of all.
Number 7, Believe Yourself, the filly by Sebring.
$30,000 colt from the classic sale, little girl, Sebring. Yeah, winning a 2-year-old, winning 3-year-old classic. Just doing a great job here is Sebring. Of course, Gay used to have all these horses. Was it Mason? Was it called? Mason the
Marseille Roulette. It won the English race, didn't it? Was it?
Yeah. And beats one of Gay's.
I tell you what, Mark, and no disrespect to all the 2-year-olds around yesterday, but the more we see a 2-year-old race every week, all we keep doing is saying Earthquake will beat them all.
Yeah, well, if you compare these times and their sectional times to the rest of the day, they're a lap behind the other horses, and this has got a half an hour on Valentia's race. So, you know, it's run about 7/10 fast for the last 400.
We'll show the market later. You'll be shocked what price they put up Valentia, Mark. You might be able to add a Norton. Hey, we got the Earthquake, $2.80. You know, I don't think much will change next week unless, well, depending on.
Did you say on Wednesday that Alpha Miss will pay the late nom?
Yeah, well, that was the suggestion from Gary.
I assume they'll wait until after.
Yeah, after, so they don't have to wait until.
Yesterday, it was taken out by Believe Yourself, ridden by Jason Collett. What about the run that Gerald Ryan's having with these 2-year-olds? He won the Black Opal last Sunday, and there he is winning another good race yesterday.
I reckon he's had 9 individual 2-year-old winners, Gerald Ryan. He's had a sensational season with the 2-year-olds. This filly is a real little professional, and she got a beautiful ride by a very good rider in Jason Collett. She burst through the middle here, perfect part of the track. After travelling, you know, last in a good spot, really. I thought the favourite was disappointing, Twirl. She was there to win, and that's twice she's been a beaten favourite now. I want to point out a run in this race. Miss Interiors, who runs 5th, she drew the outside barrier. She wanted to run off the track the whole way. It was her first start in a race. She gathered herself up. She's got a lot of talent, that filly, and placed to advantage. She's going to be a real force in winning a few races. I'm not saying she's slipper class or group class, but look out for her at the midweek. She'll be winning there.
Randwick runners in the yard for one of the features, the Group 2 Challenge Stakes, over 1,000 metres, and we have equal favourites buffering. Multiple Group 1 splitter now, this fella, $3.20, along with Snitzerland, of course, a last start Group 1 winner at $3.22. Number 1 here,
to 81, Famous Seamus Sessions, 5 to 5.50, $41 Temple of Boom, the same for Tiger Tees. Snitzerland, $3.30 into $3.10, back to $3.30, back to $3.10, now $3.20, equal favourite with buffering. 100 to 1 Satin Shoes, 20 in Villaverde, 19 into 14.
And Whittington was the best out. Switzerland began well, so did Tiger Tees, and Buffering starting to drive through, and he might put his head in front here in a minute. So Buffering just in front of Whittington, Switzerland on the outside from Tiger Tees. Then Villaverde, followed by Temple of Boom. Satin Shoes was next. Sessions are just past midfield at the moment. It's about 6 off the lead from Bell Sprinter, and Famous Seamus last of all. So it's Buffering just in front, led from the 3-year-old Whittington, and then came Switzerland on the outside. She's 3 wide. Then Tiger Tees, Villaverde, Temple of Boom, followed by Satin Shoes, and then Sessions, Famous Seamus and Bell Sprinter. Up the rise, Buffering and Whittington fighting it out. Switzerland coming up on the outside to make a line of 3. Buffering's been headed off now. Switzerland's put ahead in front, then Villaverde. Sessions is threading on down the outside. Switzerland just in front. Villaverde's having a crack at it though. Villaverde is coming at Switzerland, finishes the better, and Villaverde beats Switzerland. No idea for third. They're all over the place. On the outside, we've got Bill Sprinter, Famous Seamus there with Sessions, followed by in behind them next Whittington, and then Buffering, which knocked up, followed further back by Tiger Tease, and then Satin Shoes and Templar Boom near the back of the field as well.
She was the X Factor, number 10, Villa Verde, first start for the new stable and Anthony Cummings here at Randwick. She tracked up and she had the last shot. She come off the back of Schnitzerland, who got the better of Whittington, who got the better of Buffering. Buffering was the first horse beaten around the turn, although he showed tremendous courage to keep on fighting. But it was Villa Verde, went home, too good Villa Verde. Here he comes, Jay McDonald in the Fondolina colours. James, very good performance. And
the start for Anthony Cummings, of course, recommended by Sean Dwyer through their connection of owners, big Robbie Willis and Mike Byes to give it to Anthony. Of course, I've got Fontolina with Anthony and they get a big win first up. Not surprisingly, Anthony wasn't surprised. Schnitzland ran well.
It is funny, though, after the race. He said, well, I expected, I thought it'd win for sure. He said, they don't work that good, but he's the best, Anthony.
That's true. At face value, it's a good win. And really,
the 3-year-old fillies have actually got a good record in this race. I think they've won 4 of the last 7. So Schnitzerland and even Hurried Choice and Olanana had won it.
And I'm not talking it down. It's about a length and a half between the first 10.
Yeah, they were very
Famous Seamus's run was probably the run of the race.
Yeah, great runner, Wait for Age, Famous Seamus. He's a very good horse, isn't he? Schnitzerland, well, she was there, didn't get any cover. She was 3 wide working. Very brave in defeat. Probably had a hard run first up. Might have just taken the edge off for a little bit.
Buffering, Damien Brad said, felt a bit fresh, bit new.
Well, 1,000 metres, he hasn't been at that trip for some time, but you'd like to see a little bit more from him, considering the run he had.
So we heard about Schnitzerland earlier. Where Villa Verde there?
He beat Schnitzerland, no idea for third. They're all over the place.
You can't miss her. The grey filly Villa Verde taking out the Group 2 Challenge Stakes over 1,000 metres. A former handy 2-year-old. She was previously trained by Sean Dwyer. She's now with Anthony Cummings at Randwick, and Anthony's joining us on the line. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning.
A new addition to your stable. How did she settle in when she first came to you? What did you think of her?
She was good. I mean, taking pregnant for Sean, and she was fine. Then
When did you decide, Anthony, to give her a crack at a very good race first up? What was the sort of decision-making behind that with her?
When she first came, she then had all the programs and last she was a simple, fortunately. I mean, her best form to date has been in the 1,000 metres. And it's the only 1,000 metre race for the carnival, so it's itself.
Schnitzerland was pretty good, Ron.
Yeah, look, no excuses.
Stakes yesterday. Schnitzerland was pretty good, Ron.
Yeah, look, no excuses for her. She was perfectly rated, just outside the leading pack there. She sprinted to the lead and looked all over a winner. The thing with her maybe is I'd prefer her on a rock hard track where she can show that acceleration that we know she's got over this distance. This horse that runs third here, Famous Seamus, who's last travelling on the inside there.
In the white colours.
He may have been 100 to 1, but there's no fluke in this performance. This horse has come back so well, so don't disregard him as a knockout chance in big races, big sprint races over this carnival. Believe me, he's always been a sort of a Group 2 sort of a horse, but he could well develop into a knockout chance. Look, you could throw a handkerchief over these horses.
That's what I'm about to say. There's 3 lengths between first and last here.
But that's 1,000 metres. That's what you.
I understand that. Bell's.
Well, it hasn't got any better here at Bendigo. In fact, it has got worse.
First of the Group 1s, the Royal Randwick Guineas, of course, coming up very shortly. But Navesh Ramdani keeping an eye on that radar because there are storms not too far away, but not as close as they are there at Bendigo. Let's have a look at the market here. The horses just starting to come into the yard for the first of the big Group 1s here this afternoon. El Rocco, $3.20. Ballpoint, $7, $8. Atlante, Eurozone is at $7.50 and $9 for Dissident. 7 to 650 for Bullpoint, 26 to 21 Romantic Touch, Corabiti at $31, 90 to 1 for Hooked, $21 from
number 2 El Rocker. Dominant in the Eskimo Prince with the dramas with the race or the previous day treatment. Need to have a day clear in New South Wales. It was scratched from the Hobartville. It went to the Liverpool City Cup against the older sprinters.
Go off and racing. Show the World came out poorly. Terranado, well, Atlante was the best out with Eurozone. Dissident and El Rocker jumped out fast on the outside, and they're starting to roll forward with Romantic Touch. Hooked is going up near the inside, followed by Corabedia, jumped out well, but is now easing off the speed. And then Savvy Nature, who's driving up into about 8th spot. Then Bullpoint and Criterion. Terranado, Show the World, Singing Flame, and Tupac Amaru is last. Romantic Touch came across and led, and is in front of Dissident, and El Rocco is third, and then about 700 to go. Dissident is the leader now. He leads by about a neck on in second spot. Romantic Touch. El Rocker is just behind them. He's getting a lovely trail, followed by Hooked. Eurozone rolls forward out wide. Atlante off the bit in the centre. Corabetti travelling up on the rail, and then Savvy Nature. Criterion pulling wide, and so too is Bullpoint. They're about to swing, and the leader Dissident from Romantic Touch, but Bowman's bringing El Rocker with his run now. He's about to go after Dissident, followed by Hooked. Eurozone is starting to chime in as well, but El Rocker sprinted up and joined Dissident. Eurozone's a half away on the outside. It's Dissident and El Rocker fighting it out. Dissident and El Rocker and Dissident, they had a bit of a bump. Dissident's kicking back on the inside after El Rocker got to him. They hit the line. Dissident beat El Rocker, Eurozone, Terranado. Then came Hook, followed by Atlante and Savvy Nature. Then Tupac Amaru, Romantic Touch, Corabetti, followed further back by Show the World. And then at the head of the others, Criterion, followed by Singing Flame, and Bullpoint finished a long last.
Oh, you can never underestimate the old fellow, Jimmy Cassidy. He got those big biceps pumping on Dissident. El Rocco, he had him cold, El Rocco. But on the inside, Dissident in the famous colours of Peter Moody. On the inside, the white with the white and blue striped sleeves. And Dissident kicks back. Jimmy Cassidy makes it 101 Group 1s. He beats El Rocco.
Couple of warriors together, a young one and an old one.
The last we saw him a fortnight ago and again today, Jimmy's put him into the race. He's made him want to be a racehorse.
Yeah, and he's toughed it out, and he's just got that little bit fitter and, a bit more forward each time he's gone the races. He's a high-quality colt. We saw his efforts here in the spring around Zoostar and that. He was wide, had a hard run in the Golden Rose, just got nutted and probably was over the top, but he's come back a better, bigger, stronger colt. And, he's tagged himself one of the best of his age group in the country.
When Jimmy got level for Jim Cassidy with Dissident, he was on him a fortnight ago when he won the Hobartville. They said El Rocker wasn't there. Would have it made a difference? Well, at the end of the testing mile today, it was Jimmy Cassidy, the pump.
And look, we decided to ride him the same, be positive. I wanted to be up there early, and when I ended up in front, I just travelled beautifully. Come back underneath me, I had El Rocker sitting off me, and Romantic Touch, but he just relaxed. He's starting to turn from a boy into a man, which is great. So he's starting to learn.
I thought El Rocker.
Dissident beat El Rocker.
Two great colts locked in battle there. Dissident gets it to give Jimmy 101, same as the Oliver, who finished down the track there on Bullpoint. El Rocker brave, but Dissident under Jimmy, getting the job done. Sebring colt worth plenty now as a future stallion.
And no doubt, Bruce, the clearly one to beat now in the Riesling Guineas, because the more I look at him, and I think Jimmy said it from when he first sat on him, wait till he gets to a mile and a quarter. It's amazing, these Sebrings. They can sprint. I think they'll get middle distances. El Rocco will have more news with Brent. It probably just doesn't see a true mile out, but perhaps no weight in a Doncaster. Eurozone, I thought, would win topping the rise. The thing of Bruce Hill's Terranado, it just looks like a Cheltenham horse. It'll just keep coming and coming. A few of the others, you've got to say, were disappointing. Savvy Nature, I thought, at the top of the rise with the blinkers on mark, might hit the line, but it didn't.
Do you think this is a true guide to the pace in the Guineas over 2,000 metres? We might end up with a different result. Having said that, I think Dissident will be suited by 2,000, no doubt.
Well, Criterion's going to...
I think Criterion, a few at the back, like just because of the tempo of the race, they couldn't really get into it, and they were, holding their ground to the post, but never really figuring.
What's a new player, though? Where was the new blood for the race? Bullpoint, but that was...
His form in New Zealand did seem to be a bit better with them on, didn't it?
Got concerns for Bullpoint, but that was more pre-race and was borne out during the race. Checked in the barriers, and Ollie said he lost it prior to the race there. That's him in the black cap.
He went off, though. Well, the stewards, Damien reported...
Going defeat, I couldn't have been more confident at the 150, but when I asked for his supreme effort and he was inclined to lay in, I wasn't so confident, but full credit to the winner, and he was too good today.
Going great. Once again, he's probably going to have the best sectionals of the race, but his main...
What a great battle we had. Terrific finish. Dissident and El Roker, the Kiwi 3-year-old, fighting it out. El Roker got his head there in front at one stage.
Yeah, it was a great contest. It's amazing how like Dissident needed a win. He'd been a bit of a professional place getter leading into the Hobart field, but he come out on top there. Geez, I love the way he looks in the yard. I don't think he's peaked yet. He's a big, strong horse. He looks like he's going to run 2,000. Who's to say that he won't run a Derby distance? If he doesn't, he could freshen back up for a Doncaster mile. El Rocker was going to bolt in when he cruised up here, wasn't he?
Yeah. Look, he went to Dissident like he was going to go straight past him, but he turned his head to the outside there and he started to hang in. Now, Dissident might have wobbled out a little bit, but most of this coming together was caused by El Rocker hanging in. And as soon as he hung in and bumped Dissident, that's when he was going to go straight past there. He bumped Dissident and he seemed to stop. Now, he picked himself up and got to the line. So I actually think he ran the trip out, but he almost threw the race away himself, El Rocker. It was greenness. It was just not. If he'd have gone straight, he'd have won.
Yeah, look, I don't know what to think as far as the Rosehill Guineas is concerned there with El Rocker on a Eurozone. They've both run slashing races, but going ahead to 2,000 metres, I'm not so sure. I'm all eyes are for the winner there. And the Derby trial, and he keeps looking a Derby horse, is this Queenslander, Terranada. Although he's not winning races, he continues to run on and looks very strong at the end.
This is the Derby market with Puccini on the way to running the Rosehill Guineas, and Dissident goes to the Guineas as well. Most of those will, apart from El Rocker. Now, the word from Trent...
Across, it has split a bit, and depending on how quickly it passes, there's not a lot behind it. So it's just too dangerous to bring horses in now. So we'll just hold and try and fit in as soon as we can run. So
Behind us, the storm cloud's still rolling over Randwick, lots and lots of bolt lightning. So the jockeys, they're all
in about 18.
Resuming here against, we've got Let 'em Have It down the bottom. Oh, sorry, not listening to me, I should say. Down the bottom was backed in this morning heavily, but Zoostar's back as favourite. Red Tracer, of course, sure loved the conditions. $3.80 second favourite. Now to another multiple Group 1 winner in appearance, $6, then out to $17 for Streamer.
Well, the funniest thing...
Stakes, the Guinness Canterbury Stakes, the second of the Group 1s here. We have this afternoon. $3.70 from $4. Red Tracer, $4 for Zoostar.
He'll know they're there and they'll know he's there, but he certainly looks well enough.
Number 10, Not Listening to Me. This is a glowing horse in its coat. Gelding by Dylan Thomas. Turned out beautifully for Team Hawks in the...
$6. Now, good money for Rain Affair. $26 into $17. Good money for appearance. $6.50 into $5.50. Dreamer, 14 out to 19. Red Tracer, ooh, $4 into $3.30. Well backed. And then the 2 3-year-olds, Zoostar are Not Listening to Me. Tracer and 13 to 4 Zoostar are Not Listening to Me. $3.30. The market mover Red Tracer.
They're off now. And jumping fast was Rain Affair. Now, Red Tracer didn't step out all that well. She probably missed it by a neck. And she's in the back half of the field early on. Rain Affair led. Not Listening to Me came out well. Settles down in second spot, followed by Speed in a Zoostar. And then Streamer, who's wide early, followed by Red Tracer, picking up to midfield now. Over on the inside, Sacred Falls, My Kingdom of 5, Appearance, and Toy Dini, the stablemates last. Well, he held Rain Affair back, and now he's let him run. And he's dashed away with a lead of about 4 or 5 from Not Listen to Me. Zoostar's getting the head up a little bit on the rail. And then came Speed Innocent, Streamer, followed by Sacred Falls. Red Tracer was next, followed by My Kingdom of 5, Toy Dini, and Appearances last of all. Rain Affair about 6 in front. Zoostar's railed up to do the chasing with Not Listening to Me, so the 2 3-year-olds will have to set out after this leader in a moment. Then Speed in it's followed by Streamer. Red Tracer pulled wide. Sacred Falls goes up near the inside. Rain Affair still about 4 in front, led from Zoostar and Not Listening to Me. Red Tracer still being coupled by the rider, starting to run on, and so is Appearance. Rain Affair ducked to the fence. The mares are starting to swoop now. It's Appearance coming down the centre. She's hit the lead. Appearance. She's unstoppable. And she goes on to win it from Not Listening to Me and Red Tracer. Then Sacred Falls, followed by Toy Dini. Then Streamer, followed by Speediness, Rain Affair, Zoostar. And last in was My Kingdom of 5.
Number 6, Appearance. She steamed down the outside, this girl. The 3-week freshen up, back to the 1200. Oh, she's unstockable. Another Group 1 to her. Appearance beats the 3-year-old Not Listening to Me. Red Tracer was super after bunding the start and getting into a little bit of awkward trouble. And the worry was Zoostar. He just wanted to go too keenly. He never relaxed today. She's good. 1200 up to the mile. And Kieran... the speed was good. You tracked up into a spot you wanted to get to in the right spot, and she's explosive. Another Group 1. You've been on her a few Group 1s.
Yeah, that's the second on her. And
just a fantastic race mare. You know, she's obviously enjoys those conditions, but had the race run to suit, as you said, and big well done to Blake Shin. Obviously, he's had a good association with her along the way, and yeah, you can tell there's a bit more rain on there, so it's definitely close to the slow now.
Well done.
Thank you.
Fantastic mare, Richard. You know, where she had a bit of a setback there, but we took her to Kembla, worked her between races Monday, and she worked really well. She's come back in distance today, and just done it again. She's just an outstanding mare.
That's 4 Group 1. It's worth waiting for, wasn't it? 45-minute delay in the race, and she was outstanding. Unbeaten this campaign. She's won 9 of 19. She's won 4 Group 1s, and she deserves to be well recognised, beating a quality field there. We'll get to the beaten brigade shortly. Let's concentrate on the winner here, Rich. Go Mauler starting the beating.
Well, she missed the Chipping Norton, which was the race Guy wanted to go to. As he said yesterday, might have been blessing the score. Geez, you're a good trainer, Guy Welder, and a good bloke.
My word.
My word. Doesn't say much. I mean, we had a contest last year, how many times I could get Guy. I interviewed Kieran after the race, obviously, and he said it was more slow because that rain had really hit. Not listening to me, the other 3-year-old was super duper. Obviously, we've heard about Zoo Star and Red Tracer. Here's the interference. Look for barriers 7 and 8. So Bossy comes across here, bang. Wow. So what you got to remember is, if that doesn't happen, I know she was a bit slow away being Red Tracer. But if that doesn't happen, she's 2 lengths further up. And she's taken some out of her knuckle. She's the one who goes forward. I think it changes the result of the race. Nash believed the same, but you take nothing away from her, and she was great. Sacred Falls was outstanding. My Kingdom of Fife was also super.
Look, we've mentioned it before. Not many mares win a Myer Classic and then win a Coolmore, and she's continued to winning these group races. She's got to be rated as one of the best mares we've seen in a long time. Her record's impeccable in the last 12 to 18 months. She just keeps winning.
It's the last season, though, isn't it? This is it. I mean, make the most of it while she's here.
Absolutely. Not listening to me.
First up, he jumped well, put himself there. He's come back a lot stronger this preparation and really found the line well late. So he's in for a good campaign.
Toydeni went well. He was
start with the Group 1 Canterbury Stakes, weight for age, 1,300 metres. Appearance, that was her 4th Group 1 race, her 4th Group 1 win. She is a mighty mare. Kieran McAvoy was the jockey, and he's joining us on radio.
I was pretty happy. And it's pretty easy here to ride. He travels great, and you know that if you have any sort of luck, you can get her in the clear. She's going to finish with a real flourish, and that's what she said yesterday. I'll give her a squeeze for coming up the rise, and I had Red Tracer covered pretty much straight away, and then obviously I knew it was a good quality Fiorente, Zoo Star, and the other horse, Hawks, is not listening to me somewhere in amongst the ruck as well. So, but she really enjoyed that round yesterday, and just blew them away. She's a credit to herself.
With cracking speed in that race, Karen. Where do you reckon they were actually going their quickest in that race? What part of the which 200 metres felt like they were really roaring?
Well, almost all of them. One trainer fair with them about 1,000 onwards. 1,000 and 400, and I was back to smoking my pipe, and it did play into our hands a bit with Rain Affair, and I suppose the rest of the group laying up behind that speed. So it's still playing into our hands, and I was able to rest, and then once my girl, she was able to rip home in a pretty quick section as well. And even though I was a long way back, I was pretty confident that she'd be able to do it.
She powered home as we watch it here, Kieran, that last 200 metres or so. The Doncaster is a target race. I think they're keen to go to the George Ryder and then to the Doncaster with Appearance and not run next week. She'd only be Stakes.
What happened to Zoo Star? I was expecting a lot more from him, even with a bit of rain around.
Yeah, the steward's report says he pulled up mildly lame. How much you can put into that, I don't know.
Well,
but
I don't think the stewards are involved in any conspiracy, are they?
No. Look, but how many times do you see it? And then there's a week later they're at the track again.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Look, I think it's tremendously tough for 3-year-olds of any standard to mix it with older sprinting times.
1,300. I think we can assess him after his next run.
Yeah, I think it's fair call. It's a tough effort. But not listening to me was great. today, against older horses. But I think that you can forgive this horse this one run, but if he does it again, I don't think we'll see much more of him.
No.
Rain Affair gave a bit of a sight, didn't he? And they backed him too once the rain came.
Not enough rain for him. Look at Sacred Falls along the inside, running 4. First up, Doncaster Mile winner from last year, and Toy Deeney. Well, he's back on track.
Yeah.
I was a little bit worried about him first up, but much better there second up.
The actual downpour.
Yeah, it was a huge run, wasn't it, Ron?
Yeah.
Red Tracy yesterday.
Oh, look, as far as saying she was unlucky not to win, I doubt it. But she should have run a clear second. It's not ideal when you just come out a little bit slow. She's clipped heels. She's got back into a rhythm, but not the ideal situation, obviously.
Now, Glenn Boss was suspended over that, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
He was suspended for interference caused to her at the beginning. So it's pretty severe. She did nearly go down.
Well, she clipped heels. You know, she clipped heels.
Yeah, for Manny, there'll be a clip later on as well.
With a Group 1 coming up. It wasn't the pick of the yard, was he, Manny?
No.
Equal favourites here. Sham Express, Summer Ready and Thump. Spirit of Boom, not far away. So this is a great race. Faulkner ran in the race last year. Of course, Black Caviar's won 2 of the past 3 of these. And Faulkner, what's a right spot in running, the right place on the track. And here at Sham Express.
Yeah, exactly. The first 200 metres, Alfie tries to angle off the back of Thump if it comes across. And then where does Sham Express?
Set for the main race of the night. They're off. Caught them well. Gregor's away with a brilliant start on the outside. Goes to the lead ahead of Thump and Samariti hustling through along the inside. They're 2 lengths on Fodolina, Sham Express, and It Is Written. Followed Unpretentious and then Spirit of Boom and 3 lengths to Gig and Faulkner. Samariti had enough pace to lead Gregors and they're under the 800 turn. They're 2.5 on Thump, who's getting away from the inside to be third. And then Sham Express in 4th placing, 3 deep around Fodolina and It Is Written. Spirit of Boom next getting a card into the race on the back of Sham Express. They're followed Unpretentious, Faulkner and Gig as they went by the 600 metres now. Samariti tried to slow the tempo, but here's now Cassidy moving up on Thump to put the pressure on with the other filly, Gregors. They're the 3 leaders ahead of Sham Express. Spirit of Boom starting to pick up the ground on the outside, and then Fodolina. They're coming around the turn now. Gregors and Samariti, the 2 fillies are dueling. Sham Express and Spirit of Boom are starting to come home well on the outside. Into the straight now, Gregors, driven by Spirit of Boom. Sham Express, Samariti. He's up for just coming down the outside. Spirit of Boom, across about 50 metres to... He's clinging on for his first group. Spirit, a close go, and it's close for third too, between Unpretentious and Gregors, and just off them Sham Express, Faulkner, Thump, It Is Written, followed further back then Samariti and Gig. A photo finish, and it will be very, very close between Spirit of Boom and on the inside Fontolina, who's flashed home and made it very, very close indeed.
It was all set to be Spirit of Boom, but Fontolina's got its head down right on the line here in 111.17. Fontolina gets Spirit of Boom, gets it. Number will go up here. Spirit of Boom 2 for Tony Gollan. Finally gets the Group 1. 2 Spirit of Boom wins it for him. And he finally just realises it, that he's actually won it. Spirit of Boom. So well deserved here. 2, 4, 6 and up.
I thought we won on the line. Then I thought we got beat. And now we've won. So it's been amazing. He's given us a great ride, this horse, for a long time. It's really deserving. He won a Group 1. Everyone's been saying it. Now he's won it. I'm just absolutely relieved.
And for you, it started to be good for you as well.
Oh, look, the whole thing with the Booms and Eureka and all my clients have been fantastic. These horses, I was training Class 1 winners at Toowoomba and training Group 1 winners at Moonee Valley now. So it's been a good trip and I wouldn't change a thing.
Side.
It was a great race. Well deserved. Good scenes for Tony Gollan, who was went from cheering to worrying to cheering again. And Michael Rod, I've never seen Michael so emotional after the race. He goes back to his days with Tony's dad, Darryl. And Bossy, well, it was one that got away for him. He was just absolutely devastated that Fontolina, not through anything other than, looks like the inside gets it there, doesn't it? No, it didn't. I know it didn't. No, great race. And this is a class Group 1 sprinter, this horse, Spirit of Boom. But when they finish within a length of each other like that,
Sham Express had no luck.
He's come up for the TJ.
He had no luck whatsoever, Sham Express.
I think the way that you got to mention the way the track the race on Friday night
was swooping.
Well, certainly, and the fence was nowhere to be. And Samariti, they just that's not her go. Kicking up inside. I mean, who would have thought that Samaretti would be leading Guelph?
Yeah, and
Sorry, not Guelph. Thump. What's
Thump.
going on over there?
One racing the William Reid Stakes, Spirit of Boom. Well done to Tony Gollan. Very tight finish there, but Tony finally got a Group 1 out of Spirit of Boom. I suppose he was a little bit like buffering. He'd been thereabouts. He was a Group 1 bridesmaid for a while, but he's finally got one now.
Yeah, his future's stamped now. He'll stand at Eureka's start, and deservedly so. He's been a terrific sprinter all the way through. He'll be very popular in Queensland, and it's about time he got the breaks. And the way this track played, it played right into his hands. He just chimed in here, always looking the winner, I'd suggest. Look at Fontalina inside him there. He was unlucky in the straight. He never got a chance to really balance up and probably should have won. And boy, oh boy, how good was Faulkner? He's the grade running last here.
I was just going to say that. He has come back beautifully.
Into the quicksand late and makes up many lengths. He's class horse, obviously.
You know, it's old Spirit of Boom. He might have been a bridesmaid again if things had gone differently. Gee,
he doesn't like hitting the front too early.
No, he looked unlucky, Fontalina, didn't he? And
Yeah,
he just
he
got
was.
nailed. But, you know, hey, Spirit of Boom's, no one's going to begrudge that horse winning a good race.
No, and a maiden is the favourite. Runner-up in the Blue Diamond, Jabali, has been well supported and is the favourite at the moment, ahead of the Magic Millions winner. Fascinating race, and this, of course, will help shape the Golden Slipper. Let's have a quick look at the market, where you can see Jabali, $3 now, was as low as $2.80. He's out to $3. Unencumbered, $4.40 into $4.
Now, Ghibellines missed it, went straight back to the rear, and Unencumbered didn't show a great deal of early speed. He's about second or third last early. Lockroy led from Risen from Doubt, and then Jabali going forward, followed by Wangina, who's out fairly wide early, followed by Ekdam, and then Cornrow. Encumbered's in the centre, followed by Orson Rock. Scratch Me Lucky going forward, but he's wide. And Ghibellines after that slow starters last of all. Leader is Lockroy, led by a half a length. Wangina goes up to second, Jabali third, Risen from Doubt fourth. Then came Ekdam and Cornrow, Scratch Me Lucky, Unencumbered, still a long way back. And then Awesome Rock, and last of all, Ghibellines. They near the home turn now, about 500 to go, and Lockroy's in front. Wangina's racing greenly in second spot. He's having a bumping duel with Risen from Doubt, who's trying to push out after the leader. Then further back, Jabali, followed by Cornrow. Ghibellines is starting to pick up in the centre. He's come from the rear of the field, and Unencumbered is running on as well. It's Ghibellines and Unencumbered. They've swept up now to hit the lead together. Ghibellines on the inside has put his head in front. Unencumbered a half away on the outside, but Ghibellines is hanging on, and Ghibellines goes on to beat Unencumbered and Cornrow, followed by Wangina. Then came Scratch Me Lucky, Risen from Doubt, Jabali, Lockroy, Awesome Rock, and last in was Ekdam.
Number 9, Ghibellines, disappointing in the Black Opal back a few weeks ago. Now comes out and denser prospects. There are a few others heading towards it to his new Golden Slipper. It beats number 1, Unencumbered, who I thought the money had gone on, and I thought it'd win for sure when they straightened for home. And perhaps the eye catcher out of the field was number 2 and number 3, Cornrow, who's only going to get better as it.
The winning trainer, Peter Snowden.
I can't hurt having enough.
Beaten at Canberra and wins the Todman.
I always got away with it yesterday. I went and gave one of the bookies a ticket from the exact same bookmaker, but back
at Canberra?
At Canberra. He scanned the ticket, but it did come up nil.
Because they have to Guelph, of course. So, you know, the Guelphs and the Ghibellines. They was great supporters of the Pope back in the 12th and 13th century, hence the name. Last week we said we'll better wait for next week for the A graders, and then we see this result. Cornrow is good. It'll run in the Golden Slipper. It's qualified and will run.
And here Bowman's been booked to ride Ghibellines. Brent Zaraf is tweeting out there, our man from the Racing Network, back on shortly.
Later on with Michael, that's Ghibellines there, Guelph's little brother. First win for him, and it was a bit of an upset result too. He got up at 40 to 1 there yesterday.
He was the spruik horse from the official 2-year-old trials. Remember, he was starting, the big spruik leading into the Breeders' Plate. He's lacked a lot of race sense in all of his races. He just wants to charge, which is unusual for Darley horses. But the gear change yesterday, the crossover noseband, switched him off. Maybe missing the start a little helped him as well. And a masterful ride by McAvoy as well, just to guide him through the middle here. So these people that say it was a front runner's track yesterday, have a look at this. But he charges through the middle.
He ran great split times too. I mean,
he helped him. He helped himself in the run yesterday.
Yeah.
And instead of fighting the jockey, he decided to relax a little, and then he could use what we know he's got, the sprint, and it was a devastating one.
I think the fillies are stronger. But
They
this
was faster time overall.
and it was run faster time, the winner off the top of the speed too. You know, it wasn't running fast time with a tearaway leader in the race that was collared late, which often is the case when you've got fast times. But this, his split times don't lie. He's got talent, this horse, and if Earthquake's not dominant, then a horse like that is in the mix.
Yeah, I agree.
Wonderful looking filly, and $1.45. Do you think she's just a moral here today? It's a pretty tight sort of race, isn't it? Moss Fun is a super filly too.
You have to have huge respect for Moss Fun. She's been
And favourite $1.50. She's come in from Richo.
Yeah, $1.50 into $1.45. She is the Blue Diamond winner. She's 3 from 3. She's the dominant 2-year-old. She gets a chance. Any concern for you?
Yeah, I suppose it's really the only concern, just whether Kieran goes forward, goes back.
Race last year and then went on to win the Golden Slipper. But when you look back in
$5.50 back into $5. Alpha Miss $31.
Peaked once, and now she's starting to build up again towards a Golden Slipper. Where's she at right now?
Look, Riz, I don't think she peaked in Melbourne. To me, I just thought, and I said down there, I just thought it was a second run in preparation, and she won it, and that's not been
one Earthquake. 150 to 145. It's been heavily backed.
Earthquake was one of the best into stride. 12 came out fast, and so did She's a Lady. So She's a Lady just in front of the stablemate 12. Moss Fun's out wide, and Earthquake just inside it, and they're both striding forward near the lead now. Followed back behind them by Alpha Miss, and then Memorial, Lucky Racky, Clifton Red, and last of all, as they settle down, More Radiant. So Earthquake left in front, with Moss Fun coming across outside of it, and they share the lead. She's a Lady back third, and then a length to 12. Alpha Misses midfield, but wide. Memorial back on the fence, and then Lucky Racky in the centre, followed by Clifton Red and More Radiant at the rear of the field. 500 out. Earthquake with a narrow lead over Moss Fun. These two favourites are fighting it out at the moment from She's a Lady as they turn. Then Twirl at the head of the others, followed by Alpha Miss. So Earthquake just the leader. Moss Fun on the outside. They're both sitting pretty quietly. The riders now. McAvoy starts to shake up Earthquake. Gets about a half a length on Moss Fun. Down the outside, More Radiance putting in a run. And then Alpha Miss, but Earthquake is in front. She wants to wander towards the middle of the track. She's hanging on at the moment from Moss Fun. And Earthquake's going to be too good and beat Moss Fun. And third's close between Alpha Miss and More Radiant from Lucky Racky. Then Clifton Red, followed further back by Twirl, Memorial, and She's a Lady last in.
You don't want it over again, but the dominant Golden Slipper favourite, the Tui's new Golden Slipper favourite, gets the job done and makes it 4 from 4. Then the Parramatta Lees Club Riesling Stakes, 150 into 145. And I tell you what, I love to see jockeys like that. He rode her like she was the good thing. $1.50 into $1.45.
Very positive ride by Karen McAvoy. Rode as though she was the best filly in the...
Between Alpha Miss and More Radiant from Lucky
She
Racky.
just keeps on winning. And Peter Snowden says there's more to come from her. I mean, she's one they've got to beat. Moss Fun was tremendous yesterday. I mean, they're the top two as we head into it from what we've seen. But, yeah, well, don't have to overanalyse this too much, do we?
You might not have heard this, Mark, but before the race, I think Bruce asked a question we all thought in racing. He said to Peter, it's, you've peaked once in Melbourne. Now, you've got to start to peak her again. And Peter made a comment before the race. He said, I don't think she peaked in Melbourne.
Yeah, no, I did hear him say that. And it sends a shiver down the spine of the opposition, I suppose. Look, we've seen her lead in a couple of barrier trials, and she's definitely not as good when she leads.
That's a good call.
And she got lost there in front. She's not like an Overreach where she can sit and sprint right away after leading. She's a horse who we've seen do a lot better when she's held up, and she's obviously the one to beat in the Golden Slipper, depending on track conditions.
Obviously, Moss Fun was good yesterday.
I'll approach you, Kieran. What price is the favourite? $2.10. And yes, yeah, well done. Out of that line there, of course, Oakley Girls, the intrigue to mine to some extent, just goes into the race fresh off a trial. What did you make of the trial Friday?
Well, she ran fast time. She went out with a 8 or 10 length lead and maintained it to the line. But you'd expect her to do that race fit over 900 metres. So
I'm not being disrespectful, Mark.
Either Earthquake is a superstar who's going to improve a few lengths off this because she's had a little bit of time in the paddock, and she probably, that's not really her pattern of racing, I don't think. She got on the steel there and wanted to race up. Either she's a superstar and is going to go on and win the slipper by a couple of lengths and dominate the others, or it's a pretty open slipper behind that, and you could definitely win it with Moss Fun. I think the slipper is about Earthquake at the moment. Whether she goes forward and is completely dominant, or whether it's an open race.
Yeah, like as James agree, although the winner is dominant there, Earthquake, and she had a month off and no trial leading into that. But Look, no one's saying Moss Fun's a wet tracker because she's got the form on the board on dry tracks as well. But if we get a wet track on Golden Slipper Day, I'm sure she'll be vying for favouritism because she glided through it in the Silver Slipper and made good horses look second rate.
To Ajax Stakes. Before we turn our attention to that race, for favouritism with Messine, $2.50 to $3.20, and Ecuador $2.70 out to $3.10. At the moment, Ecuador holding a favouritism. Solid move as they decided on one.
They certainly have. It's Messine, but we'll go down the board. Number
And Rhythm to Spare jumped well. Ecuador began well. Messini out of the stalls fast on the outside, up in third spot early. Then the Monton and Muro going past it on the rail, followed by Malavio. And then Riva de Lago. Well, Ecuador is the leader at the 800-metre mark. A length and a half in front of Messini, and Muro gets a good run back along the rail. A half Rhythm to Spare on the outside. Riva de Lago is still wide. It's on the outside of Malavio, followed by Monton back on the fence. Weary second last. Less is more is struggling at the back of the field. The leader as they come to the turn, Ecuador. Messini the favourite, just setting off it in second spot, a length and a half away. Muro came off the bit there. And then Rhythm to Spare. And at the head of the others, Monton and Malavio. It's Ecuador in front, but Messini's coming at him on the outside, and there's still about 3 lengths on Rhythm to Spare. It's now Messini giving a crack with a whip, responding and got away from Ecuador. Then Malavio, Weary's running on late down the outside, but Messini, it's another win for him. He's in slashing form, and he goes down to beat Weary, and Malavio will get third, followed by Ecuador. Then Monton and Muro, followed by Less is More, and then Rhythm to Spare, and last in was Riva de Lago.
the punters were spot on. Number 5, Messini. James McDonald for the Hawk Stable. 34 and a half. He zipped home in 34.55, 128.14. He just camped off the leader who really ran them along Ecuador today. Timmy Clark's, Bruce, but this horse, he's a star.
Sure is. I think if it did run, it's a done deal. You might be able to ride it. James, he's a good ride for someone in the Doncaster, isn't he, the way he's going?
Yeah, for sure. I think maybe Corey Brown might be getting a phone call, but he's a very good horse who he's just bomb-proof in the race. You know.
Weary and Malavio will get third.
Your Doncaster favourite after that, Messini. I'm deferring to Mark here. Just tell me it's a place in Greece.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, with the weights, if they stay the same as the done deal, no weight on its back, this horse in the Doncaster. I just can't believe, Mark, how good this horse travels.
Yeah.
And Ecuador's run him along, and it was just like it was in third gear, just travelling.
Well, he can sit on speed, and he quickens, and he's strong at the finish. That's why he's won. What's he won? 7 straight.
Beat now.
Geez, he looks hard to beat going in the Donny, doesn't he?
He's just a aggressive horse that they've been nice and patient with, in the Chloris family. Lovely people, lovely people. And I thought Weary was out.
One horse, Messini.
He's just a horse that's just kept improving out of sight, and all you can do is improve, and he just keeps doing it, and he just keeps raising that bar.
7 straight wins. It's not easy to do, and you've protected his 50 kilos in the Doncaster. It's a marvellous achievement.
Yeah, it is, Ron. We've taken a lot of time with him and probably placed him right, but we really wanted to get him to go through the grades. Always probably shown the ability early, but in saying that, it's very hard to do what we've done with him to get him there. And this day and age, there's so many penalties you can gain, but to get into a race like the Doncaster, no weight, he's just going to be a marvellous chance.
I guess it's a very tough thing to think. To win the big one, you've got to go 8 straight, and that's a tough thing to do. And he's got 50 kilos, which means going to limit your rider options. Who are you thinking at the moment? Who's in the mix?
Look, in the mix, obviously you got your Bosses, your Williams, Chris Muntz, those lighter riders. But in saying that, we wanted to get past yesterday, obviously, before we worried about going forward, because he wasn't in. We had to get him there. He's in now. Now we can worry about it. So
let's say this on paper. This was a very, very strong race, and the winner was dominant. So he's a deserved, probably equal favourite for the Doncaster Mile. I thought Weary was terrific from the back here. The grey. It's only his 2nd run in Australia. He was 5 weeks between runs. I'm sure they got an opinion of this horse. I don't think he'll qualify to get into the Doncaster Mile, but he's certainly going to be competitive in whatever Chris Waller runs him in. Malavio was tough again. I thought Moro was ordinary. I expected a lot more from him, although
he was common, wasn't he?
I don't think he pulled up really well. Maybe Andrew might have some more news on him, but look at the dominance of this performance and what I thought was a very, very strong race. You don't win races, by 2 and 3 lengths the pack are chasing, and they're good horses chasing. But we must sit up and take notice of that.
So he's now $8 equal second pick with Not Listening to Me in the Doncaster. How do you compare the two? Which is the better of the two?
Oh, look, they're two different horses, you know. Not listening to me to do what he's done at such an early age is just phenomenal. And this bloke, he's just taken a bit to come to hand, but he's always had it. But they're two sort of totally different horses. You know, Massini, who knows? He may even get to 2,000, maybe Queen Elizabeth. The other horse, you know, he probably stretched to a mile, but we've kept him at the sprints. So they're two sort of different horses.
Will he not listening to me?
Unfortunately, he won't be taking any more further part in the autumn. He's contracted a virus, so
that's terrible.
It's very, very disappointing. But obviously, you know, we've got to look forward for the spring.
Gee, things can happen.
The first of our Group 1s, the time-honoured Coolmore Classic for the fillies and mares, Group 1. And what a race it is. 16 Rutkins is the favourite, has to defy history. Only 3 runners in history in the last 30 years have carried this sort of weight and been able to win. And they are all Australian Horses of the Year, and Sunline did it twice.
Well, history said Raw to sent $13. Yeah, Demi 11 into 9.50. Steps in time $8 and solid. Arenosa 19 into $17. Fire Up Fifi's $26. 14 into 10. So good money for the Japanese galloper Henna's Gold. $14 into $10. Number 13 White Sage is out. We go down the page to number 14, who, of course, is Real Surreal. 12 out to 14.
Set, they're off and racing now. Hannah's Goal missed the start badly. She came out a conspicuous last. Best Out Steps in Time. And it leads from Sweet Idea. Longport Catkins is looking to get in from a wide gate, followed by A Time for Julia and Benaria. Then Real Surreal back in the field, followed by Scorpio Queen. Shani Rose going up along the fence. Arenosa's behind it, followed by Dear Demi. Then at the head of the others next is Hannah's Gold, who's working through in the centre. Lucia Valentina on the leader is Steps in Time from Sweet Idea. Longport, and Catkins is running fourth. She looks to have got in probably with a half a trail there in fourth spot, followed by A Time for Julia. Then in behind them next is Benaria, followed by Shani Rose, Real Surreal, Scorpio Queen. Dear Demi looks to be right off the track, followed by Arenosa, Lucia Valentina, and then Fire Up Fifi, Hannah's Gold, Gypsy Diamond and Royal Desert. Well, he's clapped the speed on here on Steps in Time. It's dashed away. It's about 5 in front coming into the straight in the Coolmore Classic from Sweet Idea. Then Longport, followed by Catkins, A Time for Julia. At the head of the others, Shani Rose, and then Benaria, followed by Real Surreal. Steps in Time, still a big leader. Leads by about 3 or 4 on Sweet Idea. Then Shani Rose running on, followed by Catkins and A Time for Julia. Will these daring tactics pay off? Steps in Time in front. Sweet Idea is trying to close in on the outside. Steps in Time, just the leader as they come to the post and wins it. Held on to win it. Steps in Time from Sweet Idea. Maybe Catkins third. They're a bit past the post when I got back to third, followed by Gypsy Diamond and then Lucia Valentina. Scorpio Queen was in that group, followed by Shani Rose, and then A Time for Julia. Royal Descent running on, followed by Arenosa, and then came at the head of the others, Benaria, Real Surreal, followed by Hannah's Gold, and then Dear Demi, Longport, and last in was Fire Up Fifi.
This is very, very close. Number 4 on the inside. It wins it. Number 4 inside, Steps in Time, wins the Group 1 Coolmore. Number 4, Steps in Time, gets the photo in front of number 9, Sweet Idea. 4 from 9, Daring Tactics, and it holds on. Jimmy Cassidy for Joe Pride. Steps in Time. There's the photo, punters. Right.
Coolmore. 86 with Satin Sand, 95 with Flitter, 2004 with Shamika. What a star he is as a rider.
Well, I'm speechless, Richo. Look, I just love to see that sort of thing. The jockeys that know what they're doing. Jimmy Cassidy's won this race. With all due respects to Steps in Time, Jimmy Cassidy has won this race for sure and certain. But look,
would have taken her a second up today, but I just thought it was the best way to go with her. Bold ride from Jimmy, you know, he only just got it right, but when it comes off, it all looks good, doesn't it?
I just said to Richo, I said, no, I think that's 102.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Bruce Clark is catching up with some of the very happy connections.
I done that one for Nathan Berry. My wishes and my heart and everything goes to Nathan and the Berry family and the Schofields, and I just hope he. Great to win the Coolmore, but I haven't forgotten about Nathan. I just hope he gets a speedy recovery, mate.
You've always spoken about family in race.
Look, they're
around 34, 45 the last 600 and got him out of the game.
Look, I'm a bit cocky, Brucey, but I said to Joe, if I can get cheap sectionals early and stay out a little bit wide and get her to come back underneath me, I said 600 from home. I said I'm metal to the pedal. Make the others carry their weight, Catkins and a couple of them other good mares. I knew they couldn't come from behind me and beat me. I knew Sweet Idea was going to be close.
Held on to it, it steps in time from Sweet Idea. Maybe Catkins third.
The key stat there's 34.43 last 600 metres. Brilliant by Jimmy Cassidy, win number 102 at Group 1 level for him. Third crack at the race for Steps in Time. Gone from 8th to 4th to 1st. And another Coolmore Classic for Joe Pride, who joined us on the Sunday after a great success, Joe, and had a look at it again and still won, and must be pretty proud of it all.
Yeah, definitely. It was it's not very often you can sort of make a long range plan and it all comes together, and every step along the way it just fell into place perfectly. So,
Joe, well, you said after the race that Jimmy came out and told you his plan. You weren't going to argue. If Jimmy doesn't do that, what was your plan?
Well, look, I think he probably maybe she holds up for a little bit longer and wins by a bit further.
We're still getting the check. But, I mean, what a team effort. You to take the punt to run the horse second up in the race. Jimmy to take the punt and ride it the way that, when he's confident, as he says, cocky. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a great team performance yesterday.
It was. A lot of the hard work obviously goes in at home. She's a fantastic mare to work with. I inherited a horse that was in great order. I couldn't be happy with the way she arrived in my stable. Just sort of wanted to tweak a few things with her. In the past, she'd won the lead up, but then in a grand final there, she just wasn't quite at her. Look, maybe she was at her best, but it just needed to make it a little bit different this year. And I thought, taking her in there second up was the way to go with that.
On the note,
fantastic. As Brett mentioned in the news, you're going to freshen up for the TJ.
A good chance. There's a little bit of decision making to go on there. The other ideal race for him probably would be the all age. So you're just not 100% sure yet. But
Footed and it took a while to get going, but she run her down to a good margin, and just disappointing we got beat by that margin.
You've only got to go through the history book, and I think you've got to go back to Sunline to see a mare that's won with more than 56. So that's back a long way. But look, in saying that, no excuses. We had a good run. We had our chance, and Jimmy outrode everyone again.
Yeah, I thought she was excellent, Bruce. We were very negative out of the barriers.
Football Classic taken out by Steps in Time, Joe Pride and Jimmy Cassidy, who's always been a fantastic judge of pace. He was spot on there yesterday, Ron. Group 1 win number 102 for Jim Cassidy.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, there's a fine line between a masterful ride and an ill-judged ride. This was a masterful ride.
Indeed,
when the number goes in the frame, it's a masterful ride.
Correct. All right. Well, here she is out in front. Sweet. Was it a leader's track yesterday at Rose Hill or not necessarily?
I don't think so. Gibberline's come from last. We had a couple of other horses come from back in the field. Maybe late in the day, as it dried out a bit more, the last 2 or 3 races, it was probably more evident than earlier in the day. So I don't think it was a savage bias, to tell you the truth. This was just beautifully rated in front. He quickened. He got them off the bit. The horse was chasing like Catkins has got 58 trying to chasing here. Look, it may have been a masterful ride by Cassidy, but I'm more. I think the training performance was better. Joe Pride got this horse off John O'Shea. He had a look at her form and he said, well, she went into this race third up after her brilliant second up performance at a previous preparation, was found wanting in the Coolmore Classic the year before. This time he says, I'm going to have a spot on second up, which is usually her best performance. And he did just that. It was a marvellous foresight and training performance by Joe Pride.
They handed up the lead in that race pretty meekly.
Terrible.
They just
pulled back looking for their bunny.
Yeah, and looking for the leader, and she was only too happy just to take it up. And Jimmy thought, this is lovely. The ears pricked up on the mare, and she was just bowling along there. But the genius part of the ride was he probably took off a half a furlong, about 100 metres before they expected him, right? And he was off and running, and suddenly they're all thinking, I didn't expect that, and they're all off the bit chasing, as you say, with big weights with some of those mares, and he just messed them up.
He did,
and it worked out beautifully in the end. She was getting very tired. The whole field was catching her. Look, hard to make excuses for anything behind her, really.
No. I thought Royal Descent was sensational. She was up in the weights as well. She was a mile back, and that was only her second up run. I know she hasn't won in a prep and a half, but there's a win in her. I don't know what race it is. but there's a winner.
There's something in it, yeah. And Hannah's Gold missed the start badly.
It looked awful.
Well, it may have, but it didn't run that bad. Craig Williams just sat on it the last 200 metres. He just let it run to the line, and she was still making a bit of ground.
It's got a dry coat on it. I'm surprised it ran so well.
Yeah, she's won 1.7 million in stakes. She's not a bad horse, you know. It ran better than it looked.
They got $1 million maidens over there in Japan.
I'm telling you, it ran better than it looked. That's just my opinion.
Where is the superstar, the Melbourne Cup and Australian Cup winner on your screens in Fiorente? We'll get to him very shortly in second. All right, let's have a quick look at the market here. With Fiorente 250 to 280. It's a done deal 240 to 270. They're fighting out favouritism. They might fight out the race. One race in Melbourne. A lot of cameras came out. Everyone very keen to see the superstar Fiorente.
Oh, look, it's great to see him.
Kiwi, and that is It's a Done Deal. James McDonald, an inside barrier for Murray Baker. He's second up, and he won second up last preparation, defeating the mighty Atlantic Jewel.
He certainly did, and it was a good performance on that occasion. He's got the versatility that he can sit wherever he wants. He can push the button whenever he wants. Now he's bring number one Fiorente, $2.80 into $2.60, now a dominant favourite. It's a Done Deal out to $3. They dominate the market. 3-4 Teller, defending champion. 15, 16, 15. Hawk.
And they're off now in the Ranvet. And Fortella got a bit of a squeeze at the start, went back to last. Carlton House was the best out and shows out from Sartorius, who jumped out well. It's a Done Deal, showing early speed. He's going to settle down about third in the early stages. Silent Achiever out wide, and Fiorente not all that far behind them, followed by Gondokoro. Then Fortella, followed by Moriarty, who's out wide, and Hawkspur, the stablemate to that pair, going back to last of all. Going into the first corner, the leader is Carlton House. Leads out by about a length and 3/4. Silent Achiever moving up into second spot. Sartorius is third, followed by It's a Done Deal on the inside, and he's got off the fence there, so Fiorente looks to be a little bit wide, followed by Gondokoro, and then at the head of the others next, Fortella, Hawkspur, and Moriarty last of all. Well, Carlton House is really stretching the lead here as they come down the side, 800 to go, about 6 or 7 lengths in front, leads from Silent Achiever. Fiorente being urged along on the outside to come up a little bit closer. It's a Done Deal is stalking him every step of the way. Sartorius is under the stick, followed further back by Fortella, then Gondokoro, Hawkspur and Moriarty. As they approach the turn, and Carlton House comes back to them. Leads only narrowly now from Silent Achiever. Fiorente on the outside. It's a Done Deal's had its back most of the way. He's hooking wide on it, and then came Moriarty down the outside. It's Carlton House giving a sight here, got away from Silent Achiever. It's a Done Deal, and Fiorente will need to lift. They're both struggling for mine. It's Carlton House in front, Silent Achiever coming after it. It's a Done Deal trying to rally. Carlton House is in front. Little Silent Achiever is lifting and is going to get there. I think she lunges and wins. I think Silent Achiever from Carlton House in a bobbing finish. Thirdly, the It's a Done Deal, or on the inside we've got Hawkspur, and then came Sartorius, followed by Fiorente, and then at the head of the others, Moriarty, followed by Gondokoro, and at the back of the field, Fortella.
Very, very close, but number 8, Silent Achiever, Nashawilla and Roger James looks to have got the better of Carlton House, Kieran McAvoy, Gay and the Queen on the inside. In front, Carlton House, Silent Achiever comes. They get close. Silent Achiever, it'll get it, but I'm not going to go the early crow. Here comes the photo. It wins. Number 8. Silent Achiever, great ride, Nashawilla, great ride, Kieran McAvoy. And I tell you what, the bookies get the lot because the two big guns, Fiorente and It's a Done Deal, have been left in their wake. And It's a Done Deal will run third. Hawkspur was an eye catcher. Richo, Roger James, he's a star trainer.
Yeah, and himself. He gets the Group 1 win in Australia. It's the Ranvet. He joins Richard.
Here he comes through the gate. To the applause of the crowd, Roger James, congratulations, a wonderful effort.
Yeah, thanks, Richie.
She's been so close here on so many occasions, and I thought it was a wonderful ride, but you must have had a really much spot on for today because it was a tough 2000.
I felt all week we were a far better chance than what we were being rated. And I said to Nash, she's never been ridden forward, but I wouldn't make up my mind too early in the race. And if they want to pull up and she's travelling, let her roll. And it was a masterful ride, as we've come to expect from him.
Well, you were masterful.
Truly run race with Kieran really controlling it and seeming to favour him. I mean, it took some winning, didn't it?
Sure did. Carlton House so well performed overseas, and I was very, I had that in the back of my mind. I rode him last start, and I just thought this mare was right up to winning these good ones in Australia, although she hadn't done it before. I just thought if she can come here in good form like she had this preparation, she could knock up winning a few. And
finally, but every time we've come, we've been under Group 1 company, and you don't win them out of turn.
No? Well, last year when she kind of half got squeezed out at the top of the straight and then flew back along the inside. I think that might have been, it was at the BMW.
BMW.
Yeah, like I say, she's been close on so many occasions.
Yeah, 2 more stripes, she would have won the BMW. So she's been pretty competitive, all spring. I think she was within a couple of lengths of the very best of them. I had tied with putting the blinkers on her all spring too, but we were going further each trip, and I think that's what's helped her this time.
I know we're going to watch.
Achiever from Carlton House in a bobbing finish.
Came here as a 3-year-old and ran in the Guineas, the Derby, and came back at 4 and now at 5. Wins one of the big ones in Australia, the Ranvet Stakes, and of course there's more to come. And Rogers, as you watch, it's satisfying, obviously, to prove herself at the highest level. As you say, she's been competitive at it, especially after the lure of what happened in Melbourne and the frustration at the end of it.
Absolutely. I wasn't disappointed with any of her runs, but she just wasn't quite winning. And but her work on the Tuesday before the Melbourne Cup was freakish, really. I think there were 18 Group 1 horses used the course proper that morning, and she and her mate were the furthest of anything that morning, and she ran the quickest 600 and 400 of the morning. I know Dwayne Tunt, who rode her, came off the track, and he was just very excited by her work. That was before we knew what time she'd run, and but anyway, it wasn't to be. And she.
Would you say that the best horse won on the day? You have to.
I don't think there was a lot of bad luck in the race,
I think Fiorente didn't have the best of luck, but wouldn't have beat it at 2,000 metres with an anchor tied to it. Remember, it started at 18, went to 2,000. I said on the Autumn Glory during the week, a news show on TVN, that he's always going to be looking for the mile and a half. And how Gay gets to the 2,000, the Queen Elizabeth, or whether that's on the target now.
Well, perhaps it should have gone straight to the BMW.
And come back, but it's going to be different. I can't see how Hawkspur's the one that's going to improve out of that one. It was only its second run back up here in Sydney after a flop in Melbourne, and it's ridden a lot better that way. I can't see It's a Done Deal beating Carlton House or Solent Achiever going in any race they contest further up this spring, autumn.
More on them shortly, the beatings.
Bit devastated not to get a Group 1 in Australia for Her Majesty. Would have been fantastic for Gay and her stable. He's obviously he's improved again, this horse. All reports have been that he's been working nicely since his last run, and he just bowled along in front. Set some nice fractions. He was comfortable doing it, and I was full of confidence running the bend. And it was just the last couple of hops that Nash was able to grab me on the Kiwi filly.
Found a lovely spot. He travelled beautifully. Just failed to find the 3 lengths I wanted to, and that was a little bit disappointing in the horse behalf, but I think he's just catching up on his runs a little bit, and hopefully the next 2 will be his best 2.
I thought he certainly didn't disgrace.
He'll be very competitive.
A bit of a bumping duel there with It's a Done Deal early. Certainly didn't do any of our causes any good. And once again, the leaders sort of were hard to get by. Sort of moved up on the turn, but he just probably didn't race quite up to his best today.
What do you take out of it? I mean, do you forget it? Forgive it?
Well, you got to be a bit forgiving. I mean, he's been pretty good to us, so hopefully he can bounce back in the BMW.
First time he was disappointing, Bruce. They really cranked it up a fair way out, and he come off right a long way out, and he raced that way very flat.
Let's look at the Queen Elizabeth market. Roger, that's where you're heading. Why wouldn't you? It's worth $4 million. You ran it last year and ran in 4th, didn't you, behind a reliable man?
Yeah, look, it's not confirmed that I'm heading there yet.
Okay. Would you go to the BMW?
Yes, I'd definitely go to the BMW, and after that I'll make a decision whether we go on to the Sydney Cup or back to the Queen Elizabeth.
So it's not the prize money which would make that decision for you, it's the horse.
I think the horse always has to come first.
What's prize money? Roger's got everything. He's got the flash clothes. He travels first class. He's got Barry and Gordon. He's 2 drivers in New Zealand.
Deal. Take probable possibles, probably, or possibly.
With Not Listen to Me, which was never going to run there anyway. Massini's now favourite everywhere, I think you'll see, because I don't think appearances were there, at around the $4.85 mark.
Yep.
silent achiever for Nash Rawiller. She was a Derby winner as a 3-year-old filly, so she's always been pretty good. Her trainer, Roger James, is our first special guest on Racing Retro this morning.
2 lengths. That makes it pretty competitive, but it was quite nice coming on the underdog.
Well, you mentioned the blinkers there. 3 starts for 3 wins, and the first time I've seen her yesterday show some tactical speed. Was that your idea to go forward, or was that Nash's?
Look, I said to Nash that we had never in the handy, but I thought the 9 draw was a big advantage rather than a disadvantage. You know, she wasn't being dictated to by other runners. And I said, don't make up your mind what you're going to do until you've got 150 metres. And I said, if she's travelling and wants to go forward and it doesn't appear to be a lot of pace, which on paper it didn't appear to be, I said, if you want to stroll forward, I wouldn't be disappointed. And, you know, that's the way it panned out, really.
House got about 3 or 4 lengths in front, maybe more, about halfway through the race. And you were sitting just behind him, and I thought, oh, there's a tough spot to be in. You've got to cart the field up to Carlton House, which you did, and then he kicked away again. It was weird the way it played out. You were strong enough to peg him on the line. It must have seemed a weird run race to you.
Yeah, but she got into a rhythm. She was on her own as well, and she just got into a rhythm. And Nash said the same thing, that she just got into that lovely rhythm. He wanted to leave her in it as long as he could.
What's your thoughts at this stage?
The next race might dictate, which is the better option, but we can wait until after the BMW, and then we'll make a decision. I don't know. I suppose I was originally thinking the Sydney Cup, but after yesterday's performance, we've got to give consideration to the Queen Elizabeth.
Had the blink on. Why don't we have a look at some? What do we make of Fiorente and It's a Done Deal?
Oh, you'd have to say disappointing. I know It's a Done Deal is still only second up, but look, he's yet to do anything recently. First up, second up, just okay. He's not dominant like we thought he was going to be. Fiorente, although they got into that little battle between themselves for the first half of the race, I think there was nothing in that really to say that's cost them any too much ground here. They're both in the right spot, ready to pounce here. Look, what's wrong with the winner? She has done it all. We can't bag her because she's 3 from 3 with the blinkers now. She chased down a tearaway here. She was tough on the line, and she's just a mare, the classic case of an informed mare. In saying that, this second horse has got a terrific chance in the Queen Elizabeth. I know it's a bit of a fairy tale story, but he makes his own luck on top of the speed. He handles the sting out of the ground if we happen to get that. He's ready to peak. He was, 1,200, 1,900, 2,000. So his next run you would anticipate would be his best. And the other horse there, Hawkspur, well, he's just ticking along beautifully. He was ridden negatively yesterday, and he was never in the hunt. But he had a nice little day out, cozy day, and he'd go home and eat up after that. And he's ready to explode at his next start as well. So we may have lost our 2 headline horses. I'm not saying we've lost them, but they've lost their dominance. But it's opened the race right up as far as the Queen Elizabeth's concerned.
Do you give them a pass mark, Richard, those favourites?
Not Fiorente. I thought he looked flat as a tack the last 600 metres there for some reason. It's the worst run he's put in Australia, and I can't sort of explain it. The race was a bit weird. They haven't run. I thought they must have gone reasonably slowly and run home a quick last section, couple of sectionals, and left those horses flat-footed. But they've come home in over 36. It's probably about I think it's the slowest last 600 of the day, and the leaders still kicked away and won. That's sort of weird. It doesn't add up. I give It's a Done Deal a pass mark. I think he looked. I saw him on camera during the week. He looked glossy and he looked like he might just be a little too well, and he might improve with another run. And he's jumped up to 2,000 metres. I think he's still on target. I think he's okay. The other horse, I'm a bit worried about.
On that,
up. I give It's a Done Deal a pass mark. I think he looked. I saw him on camera during the week. He looked glossy and he looked like he might just be a little too well, and he might improve with another run. And he's jumped up to 2,000 metres. I think he's still on target. I think he's okay. The other horse, I'm a bit worried about.
On that,